This is Market on the Rocks, episode 12. I'm going 12 here.
12 sounds right.
I think we've done about 12. And today is our musical chairs episode. So
Never been done before.
Never been done. So I didn't want to go through the effort of finding one specific guest. So I said, let's get 5 or 6. So currently we have Ina, Kail, and Brian,
or
the
Kyle.
Electrician. Kyle, sure.
Ina Kyle.
Ina, Kyle.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And Brian, the Electrician, whose last name I don't know.
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Oh, that should have been so obvious.
Brian Reynolds, not Ryan Reynolds.
Brian Reynolds.
There's
Is
a
it
difference.
Reynolds?
Those
I
cold
don't
calls
know.
are probably really good. Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Right? So you got stood up today?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So this guy was running late, 25 minutes.
This is for a showing?
Yeah. And then I see him coming into the neighborhood, driving around, turning around, and leave. I'm like, I guess he didn't like the street.
Did you call him and say what the
Wait,
heck?
he saw
I
you
said-
and then ghosted? Wow.
And I mean, I didn't have his phone number. I was communicating through the messenger. And I'm like, were you just here? And he never replied.
What if his plan was to meet you at the house and murder you, but then he got cold feet? And really, him standing you up is what saved your life.
I think that's what happened to me Monday.
But there was a neighbor working on a car, and I don't know, maybe he got scared away. It's like, damn, there's another
He's like,
person.
I'm going to get caught.
Yeah.
They're like, there's too many witnesses.
I've had a lot of
get rid of
altercations with
I
neighbors
hate
lately.
that.
Really?
I have this one property in Wells Branch. I'm not going to say the name of the client here. But the neighbors on both sides are highly political. One has probably 6 Harris signs, and the other one on the other side probably has 10 Trump signs.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
my goodness.
This house sits in the middle. Previous tenants used to have a sign that said Willie for president.
Nice. I like that.
But like you're caught in the crossfire.
I'd vote for Willie.
I would too.
That's funny.
And there's an agent that showed it the other day, and she said, my clients never want to see this house again. We had an altercation with the neighbor. I was like, what happened? And I texted her, I called her, like, no answer. And so previous tenant called both the neighbors to figure out who was responsible and to find out what happened. Apparently, one of the neighbors thought that the Indian family that got out the car were the landlords, and they were so excited to see, because this family also, husband, wife, and probably 2-year-old, just like the landlords, and they probably haven't seen landlords in like 2 years since they don't really do anything with the property. And the neighbor came over and hugged them and asked how everything's been, and asked about the new house and everything. And these people just took so much offense to him getting Indian people confused. And go figure, this is a guy coming out the Trump side.
Yeah. Oh, no.
They were so offended by it. I was like, if anything, this screams that you have very nice neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't even moved in yet, and they already like you.
Yeah.
I don't feel like all Indian people look alike, though. I do feel that way about Asian people. A lot of Asian people look alike. I've been watching Shogun. Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Bro.
Yeah.
And
Right on point.
my only complaint
I thought
about
that was the only
Shogun
one.
is that I find it difficult sometimes, especially the women, to keep up with characters. I don't know if that
Really?
yeah.
For me, it's the men. They all look the same for me in the show.
I can watch a
I
full 3-hour movie and could not tell you the main character's name.
You're one of
I'm
those.
like you. I'm
You're one
like
of those.
you.
I'm like, the short guy with blonde hair.
You remember Game of Thrones?
I remember it existing. I never watched
Yes.
it.
Okay, well, it has a lot of characters, and I used to watch it with another couple when it was out, and I always would, we would talk about it during the week, and I'm the exact opposite of you. I'm very good at remembering character names and everything like that, so I'd be like, isn't it crazy when Tyrion went blah, 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 and they're like, which one? Like, I always have to, describe them. Like, I
Describe the
could give a
person.
complete description of a show with everybody's name and, what family they're from and everything like that, and they're like, can you describe the characters? I don't know everybody's name. I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
goodness.
With a TV series, I could tell you their names.
See, my problem was there's 2 TV series that are Viking series.
I haven't seen those. Are they good?
Yes, they are. Both of them are very good. And I got confused with that one and this show called Vikings. And
Yeah.
I'd always get confused of like, hold on. Is this Vikings or is this King of Thrones. Like I just don't know which one it is. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
there is 2 Vikings. There's one on FX and then there's one on Netflix.
yeah, and I get confused every time. It's like, oh yeah, I've watched that show, and I sit down with a buddy and watch it. And I'm like, wait a minute, which one is this one? He's like, because the main characters kind of look similar, and I'm like,
An example
crap.
of white people looking alike.
Yes, like me and Ryan Reynolds all the time. I'm just not that good looking, but I'm it's just they see the name and they're like, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds." Like, no, Brian, there's a B. There's difference.
So were they truly offended that the guy mistaked them for another
I mean,
Indian?
she probably never
like
said that.
I'm thinking so. I guess.
as a bald white man, I get told by people all the time, like, "Oh my God, I feel like I know you," and I'm like, "I'm another bald white guy." Like, there's a lot of us out there. Because I can't tell you how many times I have to say, "Look, we've never met. I swear." And be like, "I don't know. You ever go to blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "No. What do you know? No,
No.
I'm like, trust me, we don't know each other.
Yeah.
Gosh, you just look so familiar." I'm like, "There's
That's
a
because
lot
other
of
people
us.
lost their hair.
I think like every race has like similarities, and then there's one that's like a group of them
Yeah.
always look the same, and sometimes they're in the same type of like work environment and stuff like that. Like for Chinese people, or not even Chinese, it's Indians are always like IT guys, and just
Yeah.
like
That's
all
a
the IT guys
stereotype.
almost look the same, and I'm like. Like, I swear, didn't you work for? No, wrong IT man. No, like, gotcha. Okay, you
There
sound
are
similar
a lot
too.
of bald white loan officers.
Yeah.
You're my second one I've worked with. Perhaps third.
Aaron.
I was gonna say Luke Martz was the other.
Luke Martz,
Luke Martz,
you know-
Aaron
you know-
Kovac, me.
You don't know Aaron Kovac?
Ooh, I don't.
There's
He just saw with Lennar.
there's a lot of bald white loan officers.
Yeah, I think they lose their hair with all the bullshit they deal with.
Could
All
be,
the
man.
stress.
Could be. You know, when you're dealing with people and
Starts
money,
falling out.
people get weird. That is for sure.
I got stood up on a showing at that same property with the nice neighbors on Monday. I had someone from Facebook Marketplace that said he's going to come see it.
That's
I'm
what I'm dealing
desperately
with
trying
right
to get this
now.
house leased.
But don't you get a lot of leads? That's what I'm getting right now.
I get a lot of the worst leads I've ever seen.
Oh, Facebook
And
is
I'll say
terrible.
no felonies, must earn 3 times the rent, and they never answer. And so this guy was he told me, he's like, I earn $4,000 a week. And I looked at his profile picture and I'm like, yeah, doing what? Like selling drugs?
Not
Like,
math.
and
Like,
if it was 4,000 a paycheck, I'd be like, all right, you work an office job, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But 4,000 a week seemed like a lot. But he told me that he's going to be there at 5:25. So I even went there early because I even
That's so weird.
did the touch-up paint at this house. Well, he said that he got out work at 5 and he could be there by 5:25.
Gotcha.
So at 5:30, I messaged him. I said, hey, are you still coming? I didn't hear back from you. I always send a reminder an hour before the showing just
Same.
so I know if I'm going to leave or not. And then probably about 5:50, I'd say. I was about ready to leave this house. I had a thing to be at after. And he messages and he said, could you meet at 7? And I'm like, well, no, we were going to meet at 5:25. I said, sorry, I have a thing at 6:30. And he didn't respond to that. And then at 6:55,
He's like, I'm here.
he messages and says, I'm here. I just never answered. I didn't know what to do. I was
What's wrong
already
with
30
people?
minutes away.
Yeah, you just did like an Uno flip card. Just like, all right, my turn.
Well, and like part of me wanted to say, all right, lockbox code is this, but I was like,
No.
I don't trust this guy.
No.
And I was also like, I'm not wasting my time on, because he said at one point, he said, yeah, I'm another 20 minutes away. And I said, 20 is going to be coming out. 20 turned into an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And how can I even verify who's even there?
So what do you think goes through people's minds when they do things like that?
I think they just
Nothing.
could not care less about you.
Exactly.
They had intentions of seeing the house at first. Then anything else came up and they said, whatever, I'll do it another day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we've talked about this on the podcast, and the more I delve into things like this to try to figure out why people do what they do, I used to think that it was because people were doing things like maliciously, right? Like to your point, they don't care, they don't give a shit, and I come to find that most people are just oblivious. They are just, I don't know if it's ignorance, right? They just are not even thinking like, oh wow, this guy, and I don't know how you don't have this mechanism in your fucking brain that that, like this guy's gonna have to drive to the house, he's gonna do this, like I just stood him up, like they're literally just not even thinking that, and it blows my mind.
I'm thinking how I've never done this to anybody. Like,
Yeah.
Right. That's my. But again,
like I schedule an appointment at a place where people are working all day, and I would feel bad if I was a couple minutes late.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually seen this with clients with like even on the electrical field when we do service work and we say, hey, we'll be here at this time. And it's just, okay, cool. And so we used to do like when we were doing boat docks and marinas back in the day, we would have people not even live at that house. And it says, okay, cool, I'll be there, around Monday because we fly in like Saturday or Sunday. And it's just cool. Can you make it early or would be an afternoon better? And he's like, yeah, no, afternoon's better, blah, 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 blah. So cool. I have a guy show up and he's sitting there for an hour and a half waiting on this guy. And it's just like, dude, like you said, you'll be there by noon. And then he says, oh, well, we decided to take when we flew in kind of late. So we took like a late breakfast. And so we'll be there in like, the next 45 minutes. And I'm like,
Wow.
well, I can't get in the house. I
Right.
can't do anything. And it's like, oh, well, I figured you just kind of like just wait around the house and just let us know. I'm like, well, we did let you know. We let you know an hour before we got there. We let you know like when we got there, we're like, hey, we're here. We're ready to do the service. And then the service guy's calling me like the client's not picking up his phone.
Wow.
And so I call him. I was like, yo, my guy's waiting. What's going on? And he was like, oh, I'm like, no, like if you schedule something, be there. Don't like just like how we schedule stuff. People sometimes are just like, oh well, he'll just be there, be okay. He'll wait.
I don't
think
know. I'll
people
play
think
the
you're
other
getting paid?
side of that.
Do you think maybe like the guy thinks you're like on an hourly and this like
I think he thinks I live in every house that I live. I feel like I do. Here I am doing the touch-up paint. I paid the rent on this
paint
house.
on your sweater?
I constantly paint on myself. I keep paintbrushes in my car to do touch-up paint. I mean, everyone has it in their garage ready to go.
Yeah.
But I'll play the other side of the card on that because every electrician, AC mechanic, everyone says, we'll be there between the hours of 12 to 6.
Yep.
It's like, all right, well, when do you actually want me? And sometimes they'll say, we're on our way. We'll be there in 15 minutes. It's like, great, I'm an hour away. You should have told me. Or I sit at that house until 5:59 when they finally show up.
Yeah.
So
I feel like contractors need like the you know how you order a pizza and it's got like the pizza tracker? I feel no, I'm dead
Yeah.
serious. I feel like contractors
so
should
true.
have like the ability to allow for their potential client to like view their location for that day.
Share your location.
That
And
actually
then-
is a great idea.
Dude, I
didn't-
think clients would love it.
Yeah, because then they would know exactly
Yeah.
what's going on and,
And then
say
when
something
you start
happens.
like, and then when you as the contractor are, like ready to go to the job, you push a button that says like, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
You don't have to say when you're going to be there. You don't because
It's like Uber. You're like,
because
when you
yeah,
try
exactly.
Uber
Because you'll see it,
driver-
and it'll be like, oh, the electrician's 25 minutes away, and you
Yeah.
can like watch him do his things.
So
Which that's actually a great idea because in this generation now with technology and AI and everything that we got going on, that would be something to where even like people that don't live in those homes that we do services at because they have like multi-family homes in like for instance, I got
areas.
like
I wish the
different areas.
cleaning lady had that.
That would
Because
be
then
nice.
we know when she leaves.
I have a camera up front.
Well,
I can look up when she.
Yeah, but if you had an app, then you know she's
if I
gone.
just got a ping that's like the cleaning lady left the house, I'm like, fuck yeah, cleaning lady's done. Right? Because how many times are we like out and we're like, oh, dude, it's a cleaning lady? And then, yeah, you look up on the camera and stuff, but it would just be way cooler if we just got a little ping that the cleaning lady was
That's
done.
true.
That would be nice. That's
Who
I'm gonna
doesn't
look
it made
love
me
those?
want to check if my contractors are finally installing my countertops.
talking about
I'm going to
contractors.
check my alarm system to see. But I just started, now when I'm showing buyers houses and we have multiple properties to see, I share my Find My Friends with them on
Yeah.
iPhone. That way they can see where I'm at. So I have this one client, bless his heart. We will be coming from one house to another house. And if he gets there before me, he'll send a text like, I'm here. And I said, I know. I hit the red light. You didn't. and I always show up so confused. Like, do you think that I went to a different house? Like, we confirmed before we left. All right, let's see what the contractors are there.
Funny.
Oh, good. We have 5 trucks in the driveway.
I think I'm onto something with the pizza tracker with the contractors.
I think just start
I'm
sending them
with
the
you.
I
find
think
I'm
my
with
Brian's
you.
going to install
I
it.
really-
No, I literally am,
You're
because
gonna
that's
be
a
the
great
first
idea.
I
electrician.
really think I'm onto something, and it's not like the technology doesn't exist.
No, it's there.
We
We just need
gotta-
to implement it.
You just gotta
Yeah.
you download my app, it'll show you my location, and then you'll know when I'm on the way.
If
Yeah.
an electrician made me download his app, we're done.
Well, that's
I'm not
just-
making an account.
Yeah, but you don't. That's just it. You don't have to, right? But if you want to know, like when he's going to be there and when he's leaving, which is
There should be another app that works as a third party where any contractor can use it and say, "Hey, get on the Find My app and
Find my contractor.
I'm getting Vo in here. He makes
Alright.
apps.
Oh,
Oh.
get Vo.
all right, woo, next guest."
We got radio in.
idea for you.
I mean, that's a great idea because, like for us, what we do is we do high end luxury homes, and a lot of these people, they're not in their home; they don't live there. So a lot of the stuff that they would like to know is like, how long is he there? Because like we do a per hour thing, including on our service calls. You know, service calls are $175 for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then after that, we quote an hour. So if I have just one of my guys there, we're about a 110 an hour. So we just stick there for 110 until the job's done, because that's just how service calls go. But we, of course, we let them know what's going on. But if we just let them know through the app, we don't need the client's number anymore. We
Yep.
just message them through the app, let them know, hey, this is what we're finding. We upload photos. I mean, everything would be in one spot for that service call, and they would know what they're getting priced out at.
That's
I mean,
how it is with TaskRabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, TaskRabbit, they just took a whole bunch of contractors and turned them all into their own business, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that to me is you generate an app that all these contractors sign a contract for and get on the app. And then basically they just say, hey, you know, because some people like, you know, we sign NDAs for some of their contracts. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
you can't know who they are. Well,
So
if
fancy.
that's with the app and the app doesn't give you it just gives you their name or who you're supposed to contact with, then you're good. You can just basically just keep going. And thank you.
I was on a call, but he's coming in when he's done.
Okay.
So that way now everything's on the app and
Just
it
doing a
keeps
check.
like an NDA, like kind of confidential type deal, kind of like Uber Eats and everything else.
So, what makes someone need an NDA for an electrician job? Like, is this a celebrity client or?
I've had a couple.
Interesting.
Or if like a business is opening and they don't want it to. So there's a distillery right now that I'm privy to that, and I wondered if you worked on this. So I was talking to this designer yesterday. I don't want to.
Can you give me the designer's name?
I will do it off of air. She was basically pretty tongue in cheek about this place, but she's doing all of the design. Apparently, there's some rich oil dude from Houston that is building a distillery out in like the driftwood dripping area, and he made them all sign NDAs because he wants it to be like hush hush until it's done.
Yeah.
So that would be an example.
What?
Did you work on any
I've-
distilleries in like the dripping driftwood area?
We just recently quoted one.
No, so,
That's
some of the
how I'm
talks
like-
on NDAs this week.
Well, I can get you in touch with the designer because, again, I already gave her your contact information. I need you to call her, though. I think you guys would be a really good fit as far as like referral partners. But
Absolutely.
they're doing all of the backlighting with the stone and this and that. So
Yeah, more sheet lighting. There we
Right.
go. And it was actually cool. One of the jobs that because we also own with BR Capital Holdings, which is a company that I own that owns kind of everything I have. We just did we bought a contracting company, and one of the jobs that we got is we're moving 101 modular homes. But that's all I can say. And it's going to a place to where it's like all NDAs, can't say nothing about
Right.
it. All I can say is we're moving 101 modular homes.
okay.
And
Not
so-
even the location.
I've heard
Not
of-
even the location, but
Yeah,
it's like interesting of like where they're going and like even the customer's name. I don't have the customer's name. It's just under the
Okay.
table, and I'm like,
I'll bet you they're going by the airport.
no,
No?
I don't even have the final destination. They said it's in this area, and I'm like, okay. And so I know where they're leaving from, and I know the general like city, and that's it.
How much does it cost to move a modular home?
Really? So this one's 500. They told me tiny home, and then I looked up the definition of tiny home.
Yeah, it's not a tiny home.
Under 500 square
Yeah.
feet, probably.
499 is the.
250 square foot
Oh,
is definition of a tiny home.
interesting.
I thought it was 499.
That's what I was going
Up
with.
to.
That's what I thought too. And so I was like, okay, it's under 500. And then I looked it up, and it says no, in Austin, Definition of a tiny home is 250 square foot. And so when I found that out, I was like, okay. And so I looked at it. Oh,
What's the definition of a tiny home?
There we go. Well, you got to put it in Austin too.
A tiny home is a small dwelling unit that is usually less than 500 square feet and designed for space efficiency and ergonomics.
So it
See?
is okay.
Yeah.
I wonder. Can you ask it again?
The International Residential Code defines a tiny home as a dwelling unit with a floor area of 400 square feet or less.
Or less?
Well, okay, so
Yeah.
So-
up to.
are we're talking. Most of them are 2 stories, and most of them are built
They have a
on
loft.
a trailer.
They have
Yeah.
a loft, yeah.
Yeah, they have a loft area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
So
like
are we
two-
counting both as living square footage? We're just counting the building size,
See, I don't know.
I'm reading. I'm going as quickly.
the lot size.
so
Not the lot size.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not a lot, but the foundation
The floor.
size.
yeah. So basically, the 500 square foot homes that we're moving is the modular. They're pier and beams, and they're not built under tires. So what we have to do for these,
Yeah, they're going to be on a permanent foundation.
yeah,
'Cause we'll do financing on modular, but not tiny homes because you can tow them away. But if you bring a modular home on site and then fix it to a permanent foundation, then it becomes real property.
yeah, absolutely. And so with these, we're cutting them, we're lifting them. So because of all the extra work we're doing and putting it on a basically I-beam with wheels and moving it, the mover's charging me $2,500 to move one home.
We're talking from states away or from a city next door.
Oh, just city to city, not city next
You've
door.
seen them
but-
on the highway, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
But- Yeah.
Well, so I'm thinking the idea is, I mean, homes are so expensive in Austin, but land is pretty cheap. I mean, comparatively.
And comparative.
Like,
depending
I
where
know
you're
that
at.
you can buy a home from, like, I forgot who the modular builders are when you're like driving out towards like Cedar Creek and Bastrop. Like, they have a
Yeah.
whole bunch. I know you can buy a house from them for like
Clayton?
60 grand.
Yeah.
Clayton
about
Homes,
right.
that's one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And like, would it be cost effective to move that $60,000 house to your piece of land? I'm sure the plumbing and electrical and stuff in the ground is probably the most expensive part.
That's
Yeah.
going to be an independent. Is there existing electrical? Because like if you dig for a well, now you're talking about $40,000-$50,000 just to dig into the well, and that depends on how far the well is.
Correct.
So that all is very kind of like depending, right?
the septic,
If there's electrical there, how far away the pole is, because that's everything I know is that if the electrical pole is here and then your trailer is here, then if it's 500 feet, I got a quote on 500 feet on doing that. Now, and it also depends, PEC, they'll run the wire out to whatever that hanging wire is. They don't normally charge for it. Or if it's underground, if they run their stuff, they normally don't charge you for that. They charge you for the pole and the transformer. Wire's free. Because that you pay monthly, technically, on part of your contract.
That's going to be a good clip to clip.
Yeah.
But City of Austin, they charge you for wire.
Oh.
I think I should run a side by side on this because I think building new, you could build new for about $225 a square foot if you're.
And that depends on the style of home. If you're doing high-end luxury, totally different. If you're
Oh, for
doing
sure.
custom home, totally
Talking
different.
pretty standard run of the mill, the things that Braun Homes would make.
But
Yeah.
the thing you have to remember is resale value, right? Like, so when this was probably 15 years ago, we became the company that not Gold Star, but the company I used to work for. We were manufactured and modular home specialists, right? Like we went after that market because nobody wanted to touch them because there's a ton of extra work and the loan sizes are low. So we became these like, I fucking hated it too. And I really did. And my company was like, no, we're going to go after these. And the beauty of it was that no one else was doing them. So it was order taking and clients didn't like the rate or whatever. It's like, we'll go find someone else to do it. And, they'd call back and be like, all right, fine. But the issues that we always ran into with these types of homes is that, number one, they literally have like an expiration date as far as lending is concerned. So we won't, right now, I believe the year is 1975. If your modular or mobile home is built previous to 1975, we won't lend on it. So that's the first thing. It's like they're basically depreciating homes. They, believe it or not, the way they're titled as autos.
Yep.
Because they can move. Now,
Well, and here's the other. So they're titled as autos. There is an expiration date. They, we have to go through all the foundation stuff every single time. There has to be a foundation inspection, everything like that to show that it's on a permanent foundation every time we do any kind of financing. And then the last piece, to your point, they can be moved. But if it's ever been moved, you eliminate your opportunity to seek financing on it.
So if it's ever been moved.
If it's ever been moved, that's it. You like throw away your opportunity to finance it. And I get that call all the time. They're like, hey, do you do manufactured or modular home financing? I'm like, yeah. And the very first thing I say is, has it ever been moved? Is it built before or after 1975, and has it ever been moved? And I'd say 8 out of 10 times when I'm getting that random call, they're like, yeah, it's been moved. That's our issue. I'm like, you're never going to get financing as far as real estate is concerned. You can maybe find some banks or they'll do it as like a personal loan, but you're talking double-digit interest rates and everything like that.
So, because I actually used to live in Lago, and the house out there was built it was 1980s. It was when it was built and shipped and put on that property. And, of course, it never moved.
Right.
But if if it's – because my question is it a year problem? Because the last time I was actually going to get a loan for that property when I first was buying, before I just did an owner finance, the banks always looked at it as an age thing. And I thought it was an age thing.
I mean, if it's after 75, we'll do it. But the other issue we run into is like I don't necessarily have any financing options if I can't do it as your primary residency or prove that it's like a second home and it's got some sort of like vacation-esque. So for example, like I get a lot of people who want to finance them as Airbnbs and do them as rental properties. Can't do that. I mean, truthfully, in my opinion, the only reason to ever, I fucking hate manufactured homes.
I do too.
You're literally triggering me right now because I do the loans. Well, just because everyone thinks it's, with all due respect, everyone thinks it's like a hack, right?
Yeah.
And it's a cheap way to like you buy the land and then you put it on there. But I'm telling you, like it's not a hack. It's a short-term solution for a long-term fucking problem because you're going to have trouble financing it when you go to sell it. It's a depreciating asset. And the only reason that I would ever buy one of these is in the event that you are purchasing on a piece of land that is so legitimately rural that getting material and everything that you need to build. So like one of the number one places where we were doing a lot of these where the loan amounts were actually really good was up in Washington State. And so there's a lot of areas up in Washington State that are right on the ocean that are in these super rural, I've never been there, but like beautiful
areas
mountains.
like Forks. Yeah,
Right,
near Olympic
beautiful
Peninsula.
mountains and everything like that. And we're financing manufactured properties that are literally appraising for like $750,000. You're like, how the fuck is a manufactured home? But it's because of the land that it's on.
Yeah.
And the reason that these rich people are even doing it is because it's so difficult to get, materials up into these mountains that just, towing a manufactured property up there and just dropping it on a piece of land is worth it. And you're getting these beautiful views in this super wealthy area, and these like rich people are living in trailers. But
I was gonna say that is a whole it's a scene out there. So
Yeah.
They probably don't look like cheap manufactured
the
homes,
people
though.
there look like cheap manufactured. So I got a story here. So
we used to live up there.
So I used to live in Seattle, and from my rooftop of my apartment, you could look across the Puget Sound, and you can see as far as the eye can see, and you could see the Olympic Mountains on the horizon, still like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive away. And like at the start of COVID, the pollution in the air went down so much. You could see these mountains so crisp. And my friend and I are drinking a beer on my rooftop. And I was like, I've lived here for 2 years and I've never been to those mountains. And he's like, I've lived here for 24 years and I've never been to those mountains. And I was like, we're going tomorrow. And so I didn't have a car there. So I rented this convertible Mercedes.
Oh, no.
And we drive to Forks. This is where they filmed Twilight. That's bullshit. They actually filmed in central Louisiana.
Okay.
But they use a couple scenes from this area of Forks. We drove into this little town, and there was like maybe one grocery store. I wouldn't even call it a supermarket. I would call it a market. There was no restaurants. Like there's no commercial. Every house is a mobile home. We walked into this grocery store because we were staying at this cabin, but we wanted some food. And I have never seen more like deformed, inbred people. Like I looked around like, what world are we in? And I mean, the amount of people I saw, just like bug eyes and messed up arms. I mean, God bless our disabled, but these people were fucked up. It's market on the rocks. Like
It's market on the rocks,
So,
yes.
we walk in looking like normal white guys, and everyone in there looks at us like we're from another planet. Also, we drive our car down the street. We have multiple people honking their nasty Ford trucks at us.
Right, yeah.
And
Sounds like my people.
they were like giving some slurs about how we looked.
Never mind.
And we walk into this grocery store and everyone's all messed up and they're looking at us like we're the problem. we got our deli pizza and walked out of there and we're like, what the fuck did we just see?
But how were the views? How was the mountain?
The mountains are fantastic. There's this area called Nia Bay where you can look across the bay and see Canada. It's
Okay.
pretty cool.
That's cool.
The Olympic National Park was actually closed for the start of COVID. So we stayed in the cabin and said we went. But
I will say, like, for a
Lake
trailer,
Crescent, another great place.
Lake Crescent. Oh, I bet you the fishing's great.
I bet.
But what I would do for a trailer is get it on a property so that I could actually maybe finance it or doing something like that, and then build a house. Because in Texas down here,
People do that.
Yeah, I mean,
People do that a lot.
Yeah, and they just put a trailer. You live there while your house is getting built.
But you don't need to drop off a $60,000 manufactured
yeah.
home.
No, I'm buying like a $30,000 POS.
I mean, you, at that point, just get the tiny home.
Tiny
you know what I
home,
mean? It's
yeah.
like,
They're not cheaper though.
That's
Like
true.
tiny
Get the
homes
shed
are
from
pretty.
Lowe's.
Well, and it always depends on the finish out. The
Yeah.
finish out for me, like, you know, if I was building like a $8 million, $10 million home, I'm like, get me the biggest POS so I can save as much money as I can and put it
Exactly.
all into the home. And a lot of people do that, but then barn doors, well, down here, barn dominiums are so
Yeah.
big
I
because
love-
they're
I do
so.
like those.
I want to know why you're
We're
shaking
not
your
on the
head.
same page,
But the barn doors that we've done some build outs on are absolutely fantastic, and the outdoor just looks like a barn. But then
Yeah.
you walk in and it's like a $10 million home,
High
and I'm just like this,
ceilings. Yep, I
beautiful
love that.
ceilings,
Yep.
beautiful finish outs. And even some people do barn doors, and then after they're done, they'll put like a stone kind of header all the way around the outside to have like a little bit of a-
Farmhouse.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I'm country, and I love my country living. And I would do a barn door so quick. And now I want to know why are you shaking your head?
well, so for the record, I think barn dominiums are cool, right? But from like a economic standpoint, from a financing standpoint, they literally are what the log cabin was 15 years ago.
I just wanted to
so
say, like,
15
log
years
cabin.
ago, everybody wanted a log cabin. And the problem with log cabins, and now it's barn dominiums, is number one, you are purchasing something that is ultimately, at this moment, trendy, right? It's cool, it's trendy. And when you think about it from a functionality standpoint, you're also reducing your potential buyer pool when you're selling, right? You got to find a specific like client that's going to want to buy that. The other issue that we run into, and this is the main issue, this is the same thing with log cabins, is comparables.
Yeah.
So now when you go to refinance or when you go to sell or even when you're trying to purchase it, the USPAP guidelines, which is what appraisers have to use to follow for financing, ideally you want 3 comparable sales. So you want 3 different properties that are of like, similar, within ideally a quarter to a half a mile. Try finding like 3 other barn dominiums. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
So you've got this super unique property that right now is a trend. Who knows if it's even going to be a thing that like people are going to like? I mean, how many people do you have calling you for log cabins?
God, I wish. That'd be sick.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody.
Do you have one?
Nobody.
No.
and for a while, but
My listings are all log cabins.
But again, as somebody with like longevity in this business, like the log cabin was the barn dominium of today, where like people were legitimately like, I'm going to build a log cabin. And everyone went, ooh, those are so cool. I want one too with the beams and like all the just, basically
All the wood, the
Yellowstone.
wood,
Like
Yeah.
that
Yes.
house. Everybody wanted that 15 years ago, and that was like the barn dominium flex. Like, oh, I'm gonna get a barn dominium. Like, shut up, dude. No one thought that was a good idea 15 years ago, and now all I hear is barn dominium, barn dominium, barn dominium. Like, if you're an ATV guy, or like obviously you're a contractor, so you've got trucks, you got shit. Like that kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. But when I hear like the random Joe Blow talking about a barn dominium, I just am thinking like, first of all, if you're super rich, you can do whatever you want. Right. But if you're seeking financing and doing all of those things, it's like, what did I say today about building? Right. I had a client, and we talk about this all the time. I had a client today that was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to build. I'm like, are you joking? Like, it's like, yeah, you know, that's. He's like, because we were able to approve him up to like 850,000. I'm like, yeah, you can get approved up to 850,000. He's like, okay, cool. So it's the same as if I build. Can I build an $850,000 home? I'm like, no, man. And what's interesting is that what shocks me about people when, you know, what's like the ultimate goal? If you could wave a magic wand when it comes to a home, wouldn't like the pinnacle be to like buy land and build? Like, is there anybody that's like, oh, that sounds gross to me. I would prefer to buy, like, if money was not a thing and you were like, I'm going to get a home, wouldn't everybody want to build their own home? Not like them physically do it.
Yeah, they'd want it custom for sure.
Right. Like, no one would say anything other than that. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that, like, people always ask me about building, like, it's, like, not something that is sought after. Like, it's not like a luxury to custom build. And they act as though like, well, it's the same thing as buying a home, right? I'm just like,
no,
bro.
Because with buying a home, you're buying something that in neighborhoods they have a standard that neighborhood has to look like, right? So you have to have that home has to almost match what the home is, because that's what communities are. Like, you go up to Sweetwater and I want to say Spicewood, but they have like Spicewood and
it's like Bee Caves.
Yeah, Bee Caves, this area.
Sold my first house in
that like, area.
Here's a good analogy. If I were to say to you, Chase,
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
I want to hear them. Like, so if I were to say to you,
like 4 topics coming.
You have an opportunity to buy either a used car, a new car, or you could build your own car. Design it yourself, whatever you want. Which one are you choosing, right? Of course, you're going to be like, I would love to design my own car.
If money's unlimited.
Would you think, knowing nothing about cars other than driving them, would you think that it would be less, more, or equivalent to build your own custom car than it would be to like buy one from a manufacturer?
As someone who creates Teslas online with their little design tool, I can tell you way more.
But even that isn't
way more.
Even that isn't designing your own car. And so the idea that the average human being can even for 1 second think that custom building a home and buying land is like the same thing as like looking at other homes, it blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
It really does.
I mean, my thing is on that standpoint, if you're going to buy and do a custom home, buy the property, sit on it, and then just save your money and then do it. But no one, the thing is that no one wants to wait. They want it now.
They don't even have the money for the land.
But here's
here's
the big point that what I'm freaking out about that everybody is missing. Like, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're right, so on and so forth. But the idea that is not going to be the most expensive way to get a house. The fact that people think like, if I approve for an $850,000 home, I can build an $850,000 home. It's like, no. Like, what would make you think that that's even like doable?
No, it's not, because I mean, if you get approved for $150,000 or $850,000, right? The home you're probably gonna build is like a $500,000 home, because
Correct.
you got to think of like contractors, labor. You got to think of everything you got to put into it, not only the property, and then also while that property is being built, you purchase the land. You are now paying taxes on that land. You're paying
and
so
your loan
much
if
out.
you took out financing. And you're absolutely right. Most of these times when we do these custom build homes, once it's completed, we do construction to permanent financing. We appraise that property, and almost 9 out of 10 times that house will not appraise for the amount of money that the buyer has spent.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you from now on my 5th flip, you get excited when you start doing work, and then you just want to add more. So I can tell you, someone building their primary residence to live in it, they can say, "Oh, I want the upgraded windows. I want the fanciest quartz countertops."
It's not even that. It's the comparable sales, because when you're purchasing a property and there's raw land, chances are there's not a lot of comparable sales that are around you. So here, let's just say that you just spent $850,000 on a custom build. We come in and appraise it. We cannot find comparable sales, and so we turn around and say, "Well, this house is worth $700,000." Well, we have a $150,000 delta, right? Mm-hmm. And as lenders, we know that's probably what's going to happen. So when I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I want to build," like, I've flat out have said, in this area, if you want to build in this area a modest home, you better have $250,000 cash.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, at
to
least.
cover the difference.
At least. And then when I say that and they're like, "Well, why is that? You're going to do all the financing." I'm like, because your house will not be worth what you put into it when you build it. And they're like, well, why does anybody build? It's like, well, it should be eventually. And if you're building a custom home, you damn well better fucking live there for a while. Like, you better not get sick of it after a year or two, because you'll never be able to sell it. And then everyone's like, "Oh, this is weird. Like, how does this all, my?" And then my last pet peeve, I'm going off now, is that someone will be like, "Well, my cousin built a home," and I'm like, "Where?" And they're like, "Well, she bought it with Perry Homes." I'm like, "You mean she picked out fucking countertops and like cabinets? Like, you did not fucking build a home." Tell them they wanted a pink pony fucking pole in the center, and see what they tell you. You know, you don't have any choices,
right? You went to a design center.
Yeah, not even that. Like, so like KB Homes and stuff like that. What they do is you have house A, B, and C, and they have contractors A, B, C, and they have their people A, B, C.
Yeah.
If you want a nice, super high end custom, again, we're talking about custom, not high end luxury. Custom home, then you have, all right, you want a very modest home, you get A or B. And then B has a little bit different, a little bit nicer. And then C is like, all right, these are kind of the nicer guys that we have, but they're not anything crazy and they're not cheap. And so when they do that, they say, oh, I got a custom home. And I was like, what neighborhood? That's the next thing you got to ask. Because like what you're talking about is they want to build on some property, like 4 acres or something like that, some of these newer neighborhoods going up, and then you guys go to reappraise. There's nothing to appraise about because other homes aren't done and they're still building in that area. You might as well, in that area, you might as well wait 5 to 10 years until everyone else builds their home. Now you have value.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, there's nothing to appraise towards, because the neighborhoods and the other homes in that neighborhood aren't appraising the same because they're not the same. And there's nothing else there. You're just looking at, all right, you're the first home in this area. Yeah. Now you have to wait.
Correct.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I'm dying to hear.
Oh my God, I have so many different topics here. I guess first one, I love bursting people's bubbles when they get excited about the idea of building something that can't be done there.
Me too. Like, you stupid fuck.
God bless our friend Alexa, but the other day she said that she wanted to buy this tract of land that she found in this basically mailer that came to her house that said,
oh, no.
buy, lots in Llano, Texas for $40,000. And she's like, okay, what if I bought this 5-acre land and then I built this wellness retreat on it? And I said, let me see what you're looking. I look it up online. I was like, this is in a gated neighborhood. Like, there's no way they're going to allow you to throw some yurts down.
HOA probably.
And so I called the builder. I said, what's the minimum square footage? And they said, 1,400. I said, how many units can someone build? They said, max 3. And I said, there's your answer, Alexa. You can build 3 1,400 square foot houses. That's your wellness retreat. She's like, well, it's not as exciting. I said, exactly.
Well, and a lot of people don't do that because, again, they see that right in front of them. That's where sales comes in and marketing. Dude, if you look into what they're actually like, what the tiny details underneath of those things of what they're doing, or not even putting anything, just waiting for you to go into the website and sign a contract. Just, oh, by the way, you can only build in this. It's like, ugh.
You ever been to Llano?
No.
I have.
Why would I do that?
I have. We went out there.
Is there a barbecue there?
Yeah.
There is, actually.
Oh,
They have an
yeah.
amazing pork chop at this place called Mitchell's or Michael's or something.
Michael's.
Is that it?
It's Michael's.
So fucking good. People line up
Such
for
a
it.
tiny town.
But the
too.
one thing
It's
that always not intrigues me, but I wonder geographically about, I watch the news a lot, and the weather out there, there's like always fucked up weather. Like it's always like flash floods and tons of wind, and there's tornadoes out there.
Yurts will be done.
I'm dead serious. Like I really do wonder. It's got to have something to do with the geography, but like the weather in Llano is really bad. Like
it's cursed.
It's not so in West Texas, right? Super high winds. Like anywhere close to the Panhandle, you're dealing with high winds.
Yeah.
And that's their problem out there. Austin, it's just humid.
Yeah.
Humid as hell. And then you go anywhere else in Texas, there is going to be slight bits because a lot of people don't realize Texas is massive.
Oh, yeah.
And so like we have tons, like our geographic is just tons of different types of weather.
Correct.
And then you go to like any like Llano or even Killeen. Killeen is a totally different type of weather pattern than what we have down here, and people just don't. Oh, that sounds so great. The area is great. We have these small town and stuff like that. And then once it blows up, or even not because of the weather and people don't like it down there. That's why a lot of people move to Austin, is because they love the weather down here. They're used to having like snow blizzards, and like we don't have one. And then of course we have one. And so it's just like a lot of
2 years ago.
Yeah. And so like a lot of people don't know geographically, when you move into an area, you probably should go like check out their history of like what happened and what how their geographic is before you like even go and like say, yeah, we're going to build a house there, or yeah, we're going to go buy a house there. Is always check out your geographic, make sure you're even going to like the weather.
Tell me more stories about people wanting to buy land and build houses. Oh, I can just see the look in your eyes.
No, I actually had another topic that I was
Okay.
interested in, and coming from perspective of realtor, someone who builds, someone who knows a lot about everything.
Just a lot older than you.
So I
with
don't
it.
think. I mean, I don't know if the public is generally excited about this neighborhood or not. I'm not really sure how sales are going, but Lennar Wolf Creek Ranch, where they're 3D printing every house out of solid concrete. How are those going to?
Can you tell?
So I think about this because, like,
questions about
your foundations that are under your house, we worry about those cracking.
How about the
In our
walls?
hot Texas sun, is your whole house going to be cracking in like 5 years?
Exactly.
They did a huge presentation on this at Inman. I was just there last week, and
Yeah, what were you
one of the
saying?
main builders. So here's what's interesting to me about the whole 3D printed home thing, and he did cover what you're talking about. So at the end of the day, it's interesting watching them talk about how they have these 3D printed homes, when in reality, they're treating it like they have figured out a way to build a new home, when all they've really done is you're not. I'm trying to say this right. Like in sales, right? You ever heard this? You ever heard the saying, "Sell the sizzle, not the steak"? Right? Like the ambiance, the whole thing. The home is built out of concrete. I mean, they've been building fucking homes out of concrete forever, right? There's nothing new about what they're doing other than the tool that is building it, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's interesting to me to watch a guy get up and talk about how he's building this new type of home when it's like there's nothing new about your home. And I'm looking at it like, I get what you're doing, and maybe he sells it differently when he's in a different room. But when you're in a room full of real estate agents, you are selling it like we've invented this new type of home. But I'm hearing it completely differently, where I just wanted to be like, you didn't do anything new. You just have a new tool to build something, right? And that's really what the sale should be.
Yeah.
Like, we're not building new homes. We're not doing anything innovative other than we have a tool now that we don't have to pay people to build homes. We don't have to worry about people getting injured while building homes, because there's a lot of that, right?
Tons.
And then when it really breaks down, what do you really give a shit about? What's it going to cost me? Right? So like, as much as my heart bleeds for the idea that I'm like, oh, well, no one's going to get hurt, and they can work 24 hours instead of like hiring a bunch of people to work around the clock. Like that all makes me feel real warm and fuzzy. But at the end of the day, I want to know how much that motherfucker's going to cost. And it's more. It costs more money to build these 3D printed homes.
They're not
Because
much
the technology, you're getting a smaller square footage home. That's a fact. You're getting the cost per square foot is more because the technology is new. Now, do I think that maybe in the future, like 3D homes is just going to be a thing because, it'll just be way more cost effective? Maybe. And so instead of like, again, going back to the idea of an invention, like I think about electricity is 130 years old. 130-year-old buildings, they exist, they're out there. And I always think about like, can you imagine people were running hand saws, right? Nailing in actual nails, using pulleys for cranes, right? Because electricity didn't exist. No drills, no nothing like that. Like no one came in and was like, we have a new home that we can build. No, they came in and said, we have electricity, we have saws now, we have, and we can build a home faster with these new tools.
But what was he saying about this structure?
So
Like,
that's the other piece of it. So like from a
the
structure,
land is moving here.
Oh, yeah. Do I need to water?
Absolutely.
Do I need to
Moving.
water my house once a
Concrete
week?
now?
so
That's
for-
what I want to know.
So the one thing that was interesting, and here's before I get into that,
They're like two walls.
and then
there's
the
insulation.
3D printing is just imagine doing like a cinder block home, right? Very similar. Like you still are doing all the finishes.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
like it's not like they're 3D printing the electrical. It's
Nope.
not like they're 3D printing any of the things that go in from kitchen countertops, anything along those lines. So like, it's just you're just eliminating studs and, drywall, basically. To answer your question about like
The structure.
the structure of it, I mean, it's like, and it's like anything. So when they're printing them, by the way, they print them with like the holes,
Yeah.
like there, so
There's
they can
like-
run wire and
and
do all of the
And
things.
they do insulation, I guess, between the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if anything moves or anything like that, it's just like
You'll
cinder
have
blocks. You
cracks.
can cut it out. You can redo it. You can.
But the
It can all be
patchwork won't
redone.
be the same.
What's that?
The patchwork won't be the
Yeah,
same though.
because
Well-
it looks like little sausage. Like it's
sausages.
it's like
It does, yeah, yeah.
on
Yeah, and
top
my-
of each other.
And my
So,
thing is though is
like,
that
how do you cut it out? And
oh, I mean,
I mean,
an
cutting
electrician,
out is
how we have to
easy.
cut out that section and add in new. So like, if you ever wonder, like, I'm gonna be scared when I get a phone call one day and it's like, hey, I just bought this concrete home. It's been 10 years now,
and
right?
then you have to match the
and,
walls.
and then you have to match the wall
Well, it's
structure,
masonry. So that's he even admitted
Yeah.
that. He's like, it's just masonry. So like if something were to happen, they're going to come in with the concrete chop saw. They're going to cut out the section that needs to be done. And you're going
Can you
to,
imagine all the dust?
Well, no. So I mean, I think about
in your house.
we moved
Oh
to
my
sink
God.
to
It's
an
gonna be
island,
terrible.
and we had
Yeah.
to jackhammer through the foundation to move the
Exactly.
plumbing and electrical. You jackhammering through the wall in 10 years, your whole house is cracking.
no, I mean, you're just going to cut
Well,
it
it's-
out with the chop saw. I mean, again, brick homes have existed for how long? Hundreds of
but
years.
that's just the exterior. I mean, do they have? I'm assuming, do they have drywall?
Well,
next.
Well,
So the drywall on the other side.
well, so like basically what
You
he's
could
saying.
put
But the brick house has drywall.
Yeah,
Well, the brick house, and here's the
insulation.
thing about brick houses, because we actually did one not too long ago. We had to add a wire.
They're mighty.
And it was on the garage side, which you see the brick, and again, old home, and it had a brick on the same side. Well, the problem is that we had to get into the brick to add this line in, and of course they have mortar and everything else in
Right.
the center. So it's not like I can just drill down and throw the wire down.
They built
So-
castles out of bricks 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
They didn't have electricity in those castles.
Exactly.
Well, now we're adding them.
They were running plumbing
But
in
now
them.
they're adding them on top of the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
the
have
French
those
drain where you
metal
shit in and it falls down the gutter.
pipes.
But the problem is that so now we got to match. So some of the bricks that don't make it in a full piece, right? If we cut it out and the brick just basically we take it out and just crumbles. Well, now we have to replace that brick. Now you know that one brick in that entire wall doesn't match because it doesn't match the sun staining. It doesn't match, and also
Correct.
concrete over time actually hardens every day.
Yeah.
For thousands of years, it will
Cures.
cures. There you go. See, I'm an electrician. It's not what I know. but what I do know is that anytime we've done like stained concrete floors and we trim up and we have to bring all that concrete up, I told them I cannot match your concrete.
Yeah.
You will always see it forever on end. I cannot match it. Unless there's a company out there that does it, please email me.
Well, you could stain it or epoxy it afterwards.
I
Well,
got an idea.
afterwards, but then you're talking about an entire floor.
Right.
Just like when you do paint on a wall, right? If
Yeah.
I do something to this wall,
Yeah, for sure.
I now have to paint from here to now blend it.
Correct.
Right.
The old
It's the
landlord
same-
special.
Absolutely.
I got an idea. So you know how when you buy a new house, if it's a reputable builder, they're going to give you some extra carpet, some extra tile, or extra
Yeah.
vinyl flooring just in case you have to do a repair. You got the replacement.
Yeah.
So I had someone who had some messed up carpet, and the buyer's agent required us to fix
Replace.
just this corner of the carpet where his dog chewed it, and I ended up stealing it from the closet and just
the-
putting an extra piece in the back of the closet because I couldn't find a replacement. But what if they gave you extra bricks that they built your house with, and you just keep them out in the sunlight?
Some people do that.
I mean, you know what?
I
That's
mean,
not a bad
They're going to
idea.
be the same color
Yeah.
Oh yeah, as long as you keep them outside.
Yeah.
You know where I see most of them,
in the garage,
and
in the attic.
There you go.
Pointless,
In the shed.
pointless. And it's the same thing I tell pool companies when we do pool lighting designs. It's like, well, can we do this later? I'm like, yeah, I hope you're ready to trim concrete. And he's like, well, they're going to stain the concrete. I'm like, okay, you're
Yeah.
still going to see it no
Yeah.
matter what. And he's like, you were going to cut it up. And he's like, if you want to do it now, or put a conduit or something close by to you can add later. And 90% of the time, they don't do it.
Let's talk pools because I need a clip here.
I have to pee, speaking of water and pools.
Oh, dude, I'm right after you.
Can we talk about ASR or pool concrete cancer?
Oh, that concrete cancer. I just had a client that's going through that now, and we're adding lighting now because the pool company's going to pay for it.
They're going to pay for it to be fixed,
They're going to pay for the concrete to be fixed because they got a loan because
so they can fix it.
they can fix it. Here's the problem. Anywhere. So again, this is what I've heard. And this is what this pool company is going to be. I don't know if it's a true thing. I don't know if like how to fix it right. So the way that happened with them is that they have plexi around one side, and it so happened that the concrete cancer started cracking right where the plexi is, and then it basically widened, met with another crack, and they said, "Oh my gosh, this is fixable," because it's only 20% got concrete cancer. And so what they're doing is that we have to add lighting into this thing that they wanted to do later on. So happened that one section actually got it. And so they're fixing it. And so what they're doing is that they're cutting that section out. And then after they cut it, they're checking the other half that they didn't cut that's not being demoed. They're checking it to see if that side has cancer, that concrete cancer. And if it doesn't, then what they're going to do is they have to add rebar and some other stuff, and then they have to redo the coating in the entire pool. And then you can fix it. But the problem is that they have to do a testing, which is the minerals inside that concrete, to make sure it doesn't match the other one.
So what is it exactly? Is it the chemicals in the concrete?
It's a compound in the concrete, and what they did is a concrete company basically cheapened out on concrete. And so what happened is that when you add water, it starts, the moisture or something in it starts actually cracking the concrete because it's too much. The concrete can't take it. And so basically there was
like another mineral they were supposed to add.
And they didn't.
Some type of ash or something?
Something like that. And they didn't add it. And that's where they're having problems is because they cheapened. And again, if you ever heard of the term, I know someone cheaper, that's what kind of happened and with these pools. It's the same thing. It says, oh, you know what? We can save money by using this type of concrete. And they're saying it's good for pools. Little do they know, not adding that other mineral, which is, of course, maybe only saving them, $3 or $4, maybe $10, $20 a square foot on these pools. They're like, oh, so this works. So we can save money. We already sold it at X amount. We can do it again and basically make that money back. And now they're seeing there's pool companies going under because all their pools that they've been doing are the same thing, and it came out and cracked.
How many years later does it happen?
I think
sometimes
so
it's 6
we're
months.
supposed to be worried about.
Oh my God!
We're supposed to be worried about anything built after 2017.
There you go.
So that means the 2017 ones are finally being caught. So anything earlier than that, we should be fine. Or if they're made of fiberglass or something else, it's fine. It's just like concrete itself.
Well, I've even noticed too that a lot of people now, including in Austin, like they have to obviously blow up the dirt or the rocks and everything else to start actually building them. But now I'm noticing that more of them, because like above ground pools that are concrete that come up to the homes that have those concrete built up slabs, most of them are actually trying to bring dirt in and form the pool in like almost 80% dirt, to where they have the form built out with the dirt, and then they just rebar in it and then concrete in it, and they're done. And the dirt helps it keep it up. I've been noticing more and more of those being built, including in downtown, like Austin area and the outskirts of Austin. That's what they're doing more of, is what I'm seeing.
I could see you still using the hole that's been built, put another pool in the middle of it, concrete or dirt around that fiberglass pool you put in. You still have to bring all the plumbing and stuff.
Well, either way, plumbing and electric and the grounding and stuff like that.
Oh, it's still not cheap, but
it's still not cheap.
Have a pool with that same hole.
Yeah, and then like if you have to fix it, it's again, I believe I'm an electrician. I am not a pool guy. But what I've heard is from these pool companies we're doing designs with, it's a lot more affordable to do it that way instead of stacking a bunch of concrete up and going a full concrete stand-up pool. Yeah. So that to me is interesting, but like the concrete cancer thing has been massive recently. A lot of people are scared. Even new pool builders, or not pool, like pool owners that are building pools, they're even asking pool builders, like, are you using that concrete? And evidently that concrete, you can't even find it anymore.
See, I wonder how widely distributed this concrete was, because I fear for my mom's pool she put in 2 years ago in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that I'm going to be dealing with this in like 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of her problems become my problems. And so I'm worried that this distributor is like everywhere in the South.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think they only have distributed in Texas, but I'm not sure.
And see, and I don't know either, because I'm not a pool guy. I'm only the guy that helps.
Next episode.
Was it like a certain company? Can you look it up?
I'm sure I could.
Right?
I
They
haven't
would probably
yet.
put it on the website. We distribute to, and then it's all
Yeah, and then all of a
the
sudden
states.
you see all the states, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
I had something
What
else to say
else?
about
Yeah,
that, and I
what-
forgot.
What else you got? You had a lot of them.
No, I really did.
And actually, you know what? I'm going to follow behind him because now I'm about
Yeah,
to.
go.
I'm going to
We'll
go.
take a break.
All right, back to Ina.
What can I tell you?
What are your buyers looking for these days? Because I had the thoughts the other day, you know. You can just walk in front of it.
I'll go, yeah.
This is musical chairs episode. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
If you could send in Matt or James or Megan or someone. Actually, you should. Whatever. I had the thought the other day. The houses that are selling the fastest are the piece of crap fixer-uppers and the really, really, really high-end brand new flips. Everything in the middle is what we have the 12,000 homes on the market of right now. And that's what people don't want to buy, which is why we have 6 months of inventory.
Yeah.
Do you think I should start prospecting for like the fixer-uppers, the same properties that all the wholesalers are prospecting?
I mean, how would you do that? How would you do that? Because like I get a lot of calls from different companies and not companies.
I get texts every day from people
Exactly.
asking, do you have anything that needs some work?
And I don't even reply anymore. And then I get like a
I'll
mean text.
I'll send them whatever listing I have at the time.
I'm like, I don't have anything. Like, back off. Like, if I would have something, I probably would sell it different ways anyway. But yeah, like I feel like a lot of people are looking for fixer uppers, and I get a lot of people asking me, like, do you have something off market that needs to be fixed up by like contractors? And I don't know if it's a trend or they think they can save money by buying it so much cheaper and then just do their work themselves. But about homes which are already ready to go, right? Ready to move in. They're not new, but they don't look badly. I don't know why it's still difficult to...
I also feel like the average, the grand majority of buyers I work with, it's their first time, and I think they're just afraid to do any work. Oh, good, we can get another take on this.
Yeah.
And so I try to tell everyone, getting contractors to change things in your house, especially when we're looking at floors, paint, countertops, cabinets, the cosmetics, it's pretty easy. Even expanding a closet or something like that, pretty easy. I think people are just generally afraid of doing work in their house.
So they would rather go for a new
And they'd
build.
rather go for something that's absolutely perfect than the thought of paying a contractor $2,000 to expand a closet.
Yeah. Or go for a new build. I mean...
Well, there's always the financing option where you do pay to close.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I just did one of those like literally before I walked in here. So we were talking about that. So we had a call with a client where he's like, hey, I'm really cash poor, but I have like great credit and I have great income. We just got high expenses. I'm like, okay, how do you think it's gonna come out? Like, if you're getting a loan, like, do you think you get approved for it? He goes, well, yeah, because we're in a good setting. I'm like, okay, let's find out. So we got a GC going over there. He's gonna go run the whole figure out what they need to do. And he's definitely got a hole in his wall. There was like a leak in a toilet somewhere. It caused some like water damage. Then we're gonna do like a full flip on it basically as well. He's gonna get basically approved for it. And what they do is kind of crazy. He goes, we can't do a scenario where we're gonna push out your payments. But what we can do is I can give you a quote for, let's say my phone fell. Let's say the quote it's $50,000 and it's a 6-month loan. And let's say that it's a however long loan, but his payments per month are $1,000. And he only plans to have it for 6 months. He can pull $56,000. They give him the cash. The project's only $50,000. He takes the $6,000 from there, pays $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000 6 times, and he's done. But it didn't technically come out of his pocket directly, but he's still be paying for it through the loan because it's going from the proceeds when he pays everything off.
interesting.
So it's like all you're doing really is paying interest.
Yeah.
Technically, it's like an interest-only loan because you're front-loading it,
Yeah.
Back from the bathroom.
or I guess you're back-loading it. I guess.
Yeah. I
That's
guess
what Brian was doing in the bathroom.
Oh, dude, I had to. I felt so much better. So much better. That was terrible.
So, Kemps, what do you find that there's a certain property type that your clients are looking for right now? I was just saying, I feel like everyone wants a fixer-upper right now, but people are also afraid to do the work.
I have a lot of buyers that are million plus that are super unhappy with the current inventory we have, and some of my people are actually the opposite. They want turnkey. They don't want to deal with it, and if they do, they're like, okay, how much is it going to cost? And the process gets so much longer. I was actually talking to Matt about this at our firm meeting yesterday. It is taking so much longer for a buyer to make a decision because if I do that, the first 14 days, they're making fast decisions because they have to. But once you get past 14 days, it's like, okay, we got 3 weeks to make a decision. Let's just get past 30 days. We're not even making an offer within the first 30 days. Let's see what happens. Make them feel more desperate. Okay, now we're at 60 days. Great. Okay, I'm going to get mine. Somebody probably do a pre-inspection. Like, no, you're not. Okay, we need some repair. No, we can do that afterwards. We're doing an option period. Okay, it's going to be like $100, $200 for us to get under option. Like, let's just get under contract first. Fine. Okay, whatever. So we'll get under contract, and then it's just not fit for us. Let's terminate. I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
no, we are not terminating.
Do not turn around.
What is it that you don't like about this house? And I have a conversation with them. Well, I just don't think it's the right time for us. And it's like, you are so full of shit. It's insane. So then just kind of walk them through the scenario. I'm like, do you want to go to this house and do you want to see what pricing is going to be in about 2 to 3 years? And let's go on an appreciation model. If you want to decide you want to flip this house, we can flip the house. Just leave it for 2 years. It's no capital gains tax over $250 if you're single, $500 if you're married. Okay, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Honey, are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we can do it. Fine. Yeah.
What scares me is my buyers who bought 2 years ago, I've been dealing with this for the last year or so. As the market's been down, people who bought in 21 and 22. Who are like, okay, I see so many other properties I'd rather. It's time to sell our house. How much can I make on this?
Okay, and then
Minus 100,000.
I'm like, are you willing to owner finance it? Because you got a great interest rate.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with it. So Matt and I talked about it on our podcast. Was it yesterday, 2 days ago? What are we doing with all the people who are just sitting there with a 2.35% interest rate or whatever low interest rate? Like, what's the plan with them? How are we gonna how do we get them into another house because they paid $500,000 when it really was probably $350,000. Okay, is it even anywhere near $500,000 now? Probably not. It's like $390,000, $400,000 probably. Okay, you want to take a loss in that house and lose your interest rate and move into this house? Are you willing to do that? Well, if we go smaller, we consider downsizing. Yeah, maybe we do that. Well, okay, we're looking at downsize now. Now we're talking. But if we're trying to go to like another 1,000 square feet, dang, that's not fucking happening.
My business coach was asking me, oh, why are your sales, less than you projected this year? I said, I turned down 8 sale listings this year and turned them into lease listings because I told my clients, I'm like, I just want to be fair with you. I want you to make money when you sell the house. I don't want you to lose money to sell the house and be mad at me and upset that you did. So if they weren't willing to do owner financing, then we were going to be listing at a price where they'd be losing money. So we, turn them into landlords, which I feel like I'm backloading, future business for later because now all these clients have 2 or 3 houses. So hopefully it comes back.
As an outsider looking in, because I am not anywhere like I'm like the outsider. I'm the electrician that usually just does the work. Now,
right.
if I was
ears to the wall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm learning. I'm like on this one. I'm like taking notes. So what I'm asking is that so I'm a single male. I want to buy a house, and sooner or later, of course, I'll get a family, and I want to upsize later. What is the best home for me to get into to flip later? And then get into that bigger home because obviously you guys are there. You have clients that are asking for those bigger homes, and you're like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
First, let's start with location. Where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Where do you think you want to live later?
Well, so I'm country. I want to be out away from everything, right?
I'm a Liberty.
But shoot, I'm talking about like between Killeen and here, like country. But Obviously, that's not going to happen because
Your service calls are going to cost so much more.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, no, I'll just eat more. At that point, I'm like, look, I'm happy. I'll eat a little bit of money just to go see my clients. But I mean, in reality, if I'm not, I'm just a in-town electrician. I'm in the city. I'm single. I need to be in city because that's where all the singles meet, right? So I would want to get like a condominium or just a house that's in the city limit. Yep, that's what I thought. Why?
HOA cost. HOA cost eats, and I'm
Then
having.
that's so.
So is that
many-
on condos or is
Yes,
that
and
really?
I'm having. We have 4 condos for sale right now. Every single one of them are over 100 days on market.
Really?
How high are HOA costs?
One's 350, one's 900.
Okay, 900 is a lot.
That's crazy,
You can find
yeah.
something for
Yeah.
200 or
So
more.
at that
or
point,
But, like-
less.
where would you put me as then? Like where would you put me?
Single family,
But I'm not a family. I'm a single male.
single male family home. Millwood or Balcones area, like off Anderson Mill.
Okay,
Find a fix and flip.
gotcha.
You restructure all the electrical in there.
Say I'm not an electrician.
Well, I'm too late. You are.
Okay, I fix all the electrical
Yeah,
work.
find
And then,
something that's like a 19 MLS lead based paint addendum required, basically.
Gotcha.
So let's find something early 1970s build.
All aluminum wiring,
yeah.
cast iron plumbing.
You're gonna
perfect.
78745 is your place.
Dog.
kind of is
hell
actually.
yeah.
That's it.
There and
Should buy it in
5
Cherry Creek.
Yeah.
745. I'd actually kind of like that play too. 78745 for south.
Okay.
50 for north.
Okay,
50 is going to be like 183 and 360 intersection.
gotcha.
By the
How,
port- by the
how's
port
the
switch.
schools?
That's
You don't care. You're a single male. Boom.
No,
No,
but he
you
wants.
You got me there. You
No,
got
he
me
wants-
there.
But he wants to sell later.
He wants the back end for the flip.
They don't allow it near schools anymore.
Then you need to
78750 Westwood High School is technically the highest ranked school in
It's
Austin.
better than
Really?
than South Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South
we
Austin.
Have not good schools.
South Austin
We
School.
are.
745.
We don't talk about that.
Sorry, Austin. Fix your stuff. Get better. Get good.
Yeah, no, for schools it's 78750, which is where we've
Better than
done
745.
kind of looked at our flips. There was one I was under contract on and backed out during option because I got too
I heard
scared.
both of y'all do flips and you don't give me a call.
Well, I didn't know you until last week.
I know.
I didn't know you.
This has
until,
changed
like,
the game. I don't have to use Alfredo anymore.
Nah.
No, Alfredo did just put an infrared sauna in the flip I'm working on.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. I love the idea of it. We're not finished yet. All he did
It's
was
the
install
idea.
breakers.
Does it add value?
It adds fun.
Okay, it adds
Probably
fun. Does it add value?
I'm
house?
renting the place, and I'll
Probably
say
not.
for California yuppies, yes.
Oh, okay.
I believe
See,
firmly.
that's where I'm like, I'm born and raised Texas. Like around here, you give me like any heated floor or anything else, I'm like, dude, turn that shit off until it actually freezes. And then our power's off anyways, and we're like, okay, I can't even use it. What, I used it for a day?
True.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
talking-
to be honest,
this
like-
infrared sauna, I'm going to lease it to a run club person I know. For sure.
See, you already have a seller. You're ready. You already know exactly who you're going to give it to.
I mean, I don't have the tenant lined up. I just know their archetype.
There you go. As long as you have your clientele.
I'm going to the Raw Dog Run Club, and I'm going to pass out flyers.
There you go.
I'm going to get me a renter easy.
So now you just need a hot tub or a sauna, and then a cold plunge, and then you got all of those people.
I got space for it.
Cold plunges.
Cold plunge is a massive thing
Yep.
recently.
I'm going to jump back to our single male.
I know we deviated so far.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, 7750,
Okay.
1,900 plus square feet. Got to have 4 bedrooms.
Gotta have 4 beds. I need to have somewhere the bros to sleep.
Yep. 4 plus beds, and let's get a 1/4 acre plus lot. We want to make sure this is under $500,000.
Okay.
I can tell you off of the exact flip that I backed out of and was a total pussy on. I was going to secure for $435.
Okay.
That house was fully remodeled. It's 7 months since then.
Okay.
They have it on the market right now for $799.
That's not bad.
That's a good, and that's
You guys are gonna have me buy a house at the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're all going to be giving you the buyer's rep agreement at once.
Doesn't mean it's not under contract, but it's listed at $799. If I were to guess, it's probably close at $725.
You think so?
If they put $150,000 into it, it's still a great profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even after commissions and everything.
435, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad, to be honest.
And that's not with the 2-year cap gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
was
a quick term, like you're going to pay your
turnaround.
short term.
Okay.
if you do that and you sit in it and you remodel it, you don't have to do it like very second. Like you would move into it, be comfortable in it.
Yeah, and be good for like 2-3 years.
And then by the time you sell it, 2 years, 1 day scenario, that's jackpot. Right? That's the American dream.
For someone as hands-on as you, I mean, it'd be so easy for you to get a fixer-upper, do all the work yourself over time, and then rent out 2 of the bedrooms. You know, I mean, I feel like there's no reason you don't own.
Well, me personally, just so like we all know, I hate roommates.
That's
hate
fine,
roommates.
but
I can't do
But
it.
you
I hear
also
you.
mentioned liking
Can't do it.
saving money. So
I
Let me
do
get you
like
on
saving
that
money.
angle.
I do like saving money. So I used to live in Lago Vista, and I think we were talking about before. I live in Lago Vista in a trailer home that had 1 bed. It was a 2 bed, 2 bath. And the laundry room, because again, this thing was built in the 80s. The laundry room was in one of the bathrooms. There was a kind of guest, and as well as his bedroom. So it's like bedroom, his bathroom plus the laundry room, the kitchen, living space, my room in the back, right? Absolutely loved it because I love the bedroom was on the opposite end. So if he had friends over or something like that, they can be loud.
can't hear
over-
screaming. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing on the other side. Now, of course, you heard something. Like, again, this thing was built in the 80s, so it's like wood paneling, no installation. If it got cold outside, you knew, oh, it's cold outside. Great, I got to get my jacket. But even then,
That's great.
that was my office. Like, I had 2 roommates. I said never again because they never cleaned. I'm a clean freak. I'm the most worst roommate ever because I will be a clean freak, and if you don't clean, I'm going to be like, yo, dude, you have 2
You'll
dishes.
be pissed all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you got 2 dishes in the freaking sink. Can you like clean that? He's like, go get to it. 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this. Like, I can't. I just not even 2 weeks. It's a day.
Then you have the passive aggressive. I'll just fucking clean it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not. I'm not a good roommate. I'm just not. Like, if they have a dog and they have to go like outside, like I am a light sleeper. If I hear my door creak or I hear my dog like move, I'm like, God damn it, I'm up. So I'm just for me again. For me now, I have like plenty of friends. He's like, yeah, man, my roommates. How many roommates do you have? He's like, I have like 4 roommates. I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I couldn't afford
They're
it.
probably just all messy. So
They I mean, they all work out and they all have these like, shake bottles and they're always like, every time I go over, there's dishes in the sink and I'm just like, it's not my house. It's not my house. It's not my house. I mean, it's probably why all my job sites are dumb clean too. Like, if I go to my job site and there's a sawdust on the ground, it's like, did you guys just drill holes in the wall? And they're like, well, yeah. And he's like, clean that shit up. Like, clean that up.
yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like these adult like men fraternity houses are popping up. My buddy Matt Worthington, friend of the show, has 5 roommates, and he's got a 5-bedroom house, and then he's got a studio ADU in the back.
Yeah.
In this house in Kail, they have this gym that's built out in their 2-car garage, and all these guys work out together, and all of them, bro
gotta
out
smell.
and eat dinner at the same table, shirtless and stuff. Seems like a vibe, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot of these situations popping up lately.
Well, I mean, look at the market now. Like, it's hard to even afford a home in the Austin area. And I was actually at I think it's called Bid Now or something. It was basically a community of like a lot of architects and designers get together, and they're like, we need affordable housing in Austin. And I'm like, bro, like, they're even saying that affordable housing in Austin's like non-existent because now everyone is like, instead of taking their own affordable home, they're all going into one home together to try to have like 4 or 5 roommates just to make ends meet. And I'm like,
When you say affordable housing, what do you are you referring to like just a general idea of affordable housing or actual affordable housing government plan?
like, they're talking about government plan and building affordable housing. And I'm like, okay, I'm with that.
So the government building cheaper houses, or the government subsidizing your payment every month?
They never went
Or
into that.
providing a plan for you. Because I'm going to talk you down off that one real
We
quick.
do.
Oh,
have
trust me.
affordable housing.
I don't agree with affordable housing in downtown because, for one, it's too expensive to live downtown. If you're going to be getting affordable housing, it's the outskirts to me.
It's not even like, I'm not even going to talk about like the play of like where it is or what it is or where it is. It's
Yeah.
more of what it is and how it limits the homeowner so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll just talk on one portion. Like, you probably quote me better than I have. I've never even sold one because I intentionally avoid them.
Seems like you guys do.
Is the appreciation rate of 2% year over year?
2%, yeah.
Yeah, so the home cannot appreciate more than 2% year over year, required to stay at 5 years.
Like for the entire, like as long as you own the house,
Yeah.
and if you decide to sell later on, they only calculate 2% appreciation
year.
every year.
Yeah.
If
Really?
it depreciates more, they're keeping the money. Like you're
And
not
you can't sell it to the general public. You just
You
sell
have
it to
to
someone
sell-
else who's also going to be in affordable housing.
exactly.
That doesn't make sense to me.
So, your buying pool is it's much
Yeah.
limited. So basically,
Yeah.
all you're going to be doing is paying surplus rent with an interest rate attached to it, with a roof over your head, and you're saying, okay, it's not really investment. I'm going to get 2% year over year.
Yeah.
At the same time, if I even rented and I threw it into a 5% yield account, I'm still going to make more money.
Yeah.
Like it's a total bullshit program.
You see, and that to me is like when I went there, I actually like, in that one, I stayed in the entire time because they were talking about like the market and where it's at and where we're going. So I stayed there just for the marketing reasons and like understanding like the market right now. But then at the end of it, the only thing they kept talking about is affordable housing. And I'm like, one, I'm in high-end luxury. Like that's not me. That's not my market. But when they were talking about the market, I understood. It's like, okay, so high-end luxury is not getting affected. Commercial markets are getting affected to a point, and then they're coming right back up because that's how they are. The commercial market is like up and down all the time.
Can you get a Rogue? Or Zen? Do you have Zens?
Oh, I do have Zens.
I have one.
Absolutely, my friend. Oh, dude. And I can get rid of that noise. It's so bothering me. I can hear it all the time. I tap something. It's like, God damn it. I need to stop doing
all
that.
the time. It's so hot in here, it's sweating.
It is kind of hot in here.
So hot.
It's getting hot in here.
I'm gonna turn it.
Oh, no.
No, take it. I have
no.
another one in the truck.
I got
I'll
a full
bring
can.
it.
Okay.
Is this dip?
Yeah, I'm actually on knickknacks actually because they dissolve and you don't spit and then you don't have to take these disgusting sweaty
Have you tried Rogues yet?
rogues. I have.
So much better.
So I can't do it.
They're bigger. They feel like a fucking pouch.
That's what she said.
Feels like a pouch.
Well, the reason why I like the dissolvables is because I used to be a smoker, and so, but
That's completely different.
it is 100% different.
See, Ina's the best.
I know what you need.
You're on
But
dip, too.
but my
she
thing
did
is,
good.
I don't like getting into my lip all the time. I don't like because like I dipped back in high school, and it was because we just didn't have a pack of cigarettes, and so like a buddy of mine said, "Hey, let me get a pinch. I just need nicotine." That's all it was. And then afterwards, like I actually tried to dip. I bought my dip can. I always got these tiny little pinches, and these guys are like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Look, if I take about as big as a dip as you, I would be on my ass, like totally done for." It's just
I feel like we should just bring back smoking in enclosed environments.
Oh, no.
I think that'd be a much easier way to do it.
so if you want to do that,
I love going to casinos and just
Oh my God, I hate
the elevator
that.
door opens and you just
My
overwhelm
eyes
with the
start
smell.
like tearing. I can't.
I've only, when you're booking a cheap hotel and it's like the option of smoking and
Yep.
non-smoking. I've only once booked a smoking unit just because I was really curious. My friends and I were going to a casino in Biloxi, Mississippi. Highly suggest that's Vegas South, and it was at the Hard Rock Casino, and we got the smoking unit just because I was interested to see what it was like. You open the door and you're just like overwhelmed by the smell.
Yeah.
Like
Are you
I
safe?
couldn't breathe.
and you slept
By the
there?
time the 2 days ended, I was like, I have a craving for cigarettes like no other. And this coming from someone who's had like 3 cigarettes in his life.
Oh, jeez.
I'm
you-
like,
you become a
I
smoker.
want to smoke now. I understand.
Give me a
I'm gonna sit
cigarette.
at those slot machines with the old ladies, bum a cigarette and drink coffee black.
Right? I mean,
No
my thing is
way.
with smoking is that I'm more of a flavor guy. So I smoke American Spirit Yellows because I like the original tobacco flavor. But I love cigars. But like if I was going to ever smoke, like I've been in some homes that have like a smoke room. They have like a cigar room, but they have like perfect
I should have done
exhaust.
instead of my sauna. Just a little cigar lounge.
Well, the problem is that smoking's going away. Everyone's going to e-cigs, which you can smoke anywhere. And the flavor palette for that one's, whatever you want. You want bananas and
Pineapple
cream?
and bubble gum.
Yeah, absolutely. And like
Dragon fruit.
Becca smells so good. I don't know what flavor she has, but it smells so
like, yeah.
That's her dabs.
Very-
That's her dabs.
Becca's like doing meth out of a spoon in the office.
But see, it smells good, so no one talks about it.
Becca, we love you. I know it's not meth on the spoon.
It's very fruity.
It smells so
Yeah.
good. Like we were in the car coming back from Texas State game from the ASU game, and she's like trying to be like this game. Like, dude, you're not high. It smells so good.
By the way, smoking's bad for you.
Have y'all seen that documentary about Juul?
Yes.
It's insane. I mean, I love the marketing stance of it.
Yeah.
And how they somehow convince schools to allow them to come do anti-vaping presentations for the sake of marketing to those kids.
Well, it's actually kind of funny when vaping wasn't a thing. It was just coming out, right? I had what's the blue e-cigs, which looks like a pack of cigarettes, and you put the thing in the charge, but then all your flavor packets are in there. And I remember in high school, my last day of high school, I was smoking in the back of the class, and then she said, "Is that a cigarette?" It's like, "Nope, it's water vapor." Because they didn't know what it was,
And they were okay with it.
They were.
Wow.
Because also I was also 2 years older than most of the people in my class, because my home decided, oh, we're going to homeschool you, and not homeschool me for 2 years. So I was 2 years behind. And so in high school, I was in the back of class smoking e-cigs, and at the last day, I took the biggest hit I could, and then I just blew a giant cloud, and they were like, "Hey, smoking!" And then, oh my gosh, teachers, everyone was coming after me. I was a rebel in high school, and then I was leaving, and you basically just got in my car and just left. Never went back. And then a year later, one of my brothers, not my brother, it's a friend of mine's brother, went to school, and part of the school rules says no e-cigarettes. And it actually says, it's actually in Leander High School. You can look at the rules. And it says no blue e-cigs.
You had blue one?
I had blues.
Well, now I'm sure it's all.
Oh, the
vapes
company
and
blue.
Yeah, the company
Yeah,
blue.
yeah.
It was blue e-cigs. And in their school book, I don't know if it still does, but back when he went to school, it said no blue e-cigarettes.
That's sick. They should put.
So
your
I was
picture on
like,
the wall.
because of me, I started a trend.
See, we had the DARE program come to my school, so
Yeah, we did too. I thought that was cool. I thought DARE was awesome, and I thought,
it's lit. Yeah, you learn about drugs all day.
oh yeah, all day.
I don't know, for
then-
1 hour a week.
I gotta go work. For a bit. I'll be back.
And then they also had what I thought was cool was the drinking and driving. Totally.
Hey,
behind-
drinking and driving is cool. I agree.
Yeah. No, not that. That's terrible, kids.
That's badass.
Yeah.
What else?
Get a roadie. We used to have roadies in the bed of the trucks driving to our next party. No, it was.
driving.
Oh
I
my
mean, in
gosh.
Louisiana, we have drive-through daiquiris.
Yeah, but the driver can't drink.
So they say.
So they say.
You keep the straw paper.
Right. But I always thought going to schools and when they have the helicopter show up and having the wreck car and having kids experience that, I always thought that was really cool, because it's you'll get a full experience of what drinking and driving really looks like if you don't make it, which is, I think, is a scare tactic, but it is, I think it's
It
so,
worked?
yeah, I mean, it worked for me. I mean, shoot.
So ironic that 15 years later, Urban Outfitters starts selling DARE t-shirts. I'm not sure how they bought the licensing on that, but I love it.
But what they don't, it doesn't even support DARE, does it? What does it
No,
say?
I mean, it's actually, I think they're the original ones. It's
Oh,
DARE
are
to
they?
resist drugs and alcohol, but it's coincidentally bought by all the stoners. Just
Jeez.
I don't know. How does it look?
oh, it looks
Had
like,
you, did you have one?
I had one in middle school.
I was
and we
just
had
there.
actually-
Leander Middle
Chess.
School?
Yeah.
You went
Oh,
to
no. I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, you went to Leander? It's
No, God, no.
Bro,
Fuck.
that's my era. That's all us. We were, I was born and raised Leander.
Good for you.
I
It
guess.
changed a lot.
Back
for you.
back
Oh
when
my
it was
gosh.
country. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
countryside.
country.
Everybody was in a trailer.
Oh, shoot.
Now everyone's in a brand new Lennar home.
And aren't you selling Lennar, a lot of Lennar homes right now?
I have one on the
I
contract.
feel like
right
I always
now.
have Lennar on the list. I mean, I personally live in a Lennar home.
Yeah.
I mean, from 2004. So,
How is it though?
I mean, it's great. But back then, in 2004, they were still,
Better than-
using copper plumbing, and I mean, I just felt like their building materials were a lot better. That being said, both my house and the one next door, also Lenore. I mean, I've gutted the entire thing, redone everything. So,
Oh yeah, okay.
I've noticed too, like, right, I want to say like 21, 22 remodel homes were like a thing that we were like, it wasn't new. Like, of course, this was BCR days and we did remodels nonstop. We weren't doing so many new builds, but we were also in the custom home world. Man, remodeling on homes was so big. Even we did one that was just freshly built a year later. They were doing a remodel. And I was like, why?
Why?
Like, yeah, and see, that's what I was like. It was like, well, we got the base package because we didn't have to pay as much. And then what they did is they got everything they really wanted. So
That makes
they did
sense,
like
yeah.
wooden, like beautiful wooden countertops. They did all new flooring. They went like the sections A, B, C. They went A all the way through, like cheap, cheap, cheap. And then they said we saved our money and we got everything we really wanted after the fact.
yeah, because a design center only has like 3 or 4 options. So I've known a lot of people who've done that, where they've gutted their brand new house. Just such a waste, but the builder won't sell it to you halfway done.
Yeah.
And they would have still paid the same price because at least they
Right.
wouldn't have to pay for demo.
Yeah.
But to get it appraised at the end, you still have to.
Yeah, it's got to be a
complete
finished
it.
home.
Yeah, so that's
So
Yeah.
are you
You
guys
get
seeing a lot of that?
financing even.
Really?
I mean, you have to have a kitchen at least. Or not the whole
Yeah, I mean, you
kitchen.
gotta
need
have-
the sink and the
you gotta have the built-in appliances
Yeah.
at least.
So you can't just have the appliance floating on like 2x4s?
I don't
No.
think so, no.
The appraiser has to think it's connected. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it needs to have a sink
Yeah.
and obviously furnace and AC.
Well, I mean, you got to have AC in Texas. I mean, come on. Like our heaters
Yeah, I
never
mean, no
turn
one,
on.
when someone's doing a remodel, I don't think AC is something that they're thinking of.
No.
You know?
Not
No
at all.
one's like, ooh, I really want to take out the ducts and make stainless steel brass ducts. One of my friends who's a developer, he was showing me some of his flips the other day, and there was one where he raised the ceilings to make, what are cathedral ceilings, whatever you call that. Vaulted ceilings. That's
Vaulted
what I was
ceiling.
looking for.
Cathedral. There's a couple. These like 20 foot.
Oh, Ave Maria.
Anybody want a whiskey?
Yeah, but he was showing me how they had to like move all of the air ducts up, which that was the most expensive part of that project.
Yeah.
But I do agree, vaulted ceilings look so much better. But
Oh, they do. They do. I just
'cause
told
he's building like $1 million house in Lakeway that he bought for $400,000. So he had to-
400,000 in
He had to
Lakeway?
make sure that it was gonna be that nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
awesome. Sounds
Absolutely.
cool.
I mean, shoot, Lakeway. I mean, we've done, I don't know, like 12. Like during that year, we were doing like 12 remodels in that area.
Lakeway is a place to go for a flip right now because the people who are buying there want to be there, and most of the homes there kind of suck. Like,
Yeah.
like they have incredible views. I mean, everyone buys for the view and the proximity to the lake and to just be part of that community. But most of the homes are they were built a long time ago, and they just haven't aged well.
Yeah.
So it's a prime area for developers. Whereas I feel like a lot of developers are focusing closer to the city, where you're buying high and trying to sell higher, but.
Yeah, but it really just depends on location. So in Lakeway, how'd the schools in Lakeway? Because
good.
isn't that awesome?
Is that ISD? I heard that too far.
Like Travis?
The Lake Travis ISD.
Yeah,
that's it, yeah.
Lake Travis ISD.
I
How
have friends who live in Lakeway.
and those are good
That's
schools.
It's great. Yeah,
So that means a flip there would be perfect.
I agree. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you the buyer's rep agreement before we leave this podcast room.
That's what it keeps sounding like. You guys are trying to sell me a home, and I'm just
I'm trying to sell myself on ideas lately. I mean, I definitely enjoy the flipping aspect more than working with clients. No shame to the clients, but clients have feelings and emotions and stuff. I'd rather just
Deal with yourself.
unleash my emotions upon
deal with
illegal
yourself,
immigrants.
I'm with you
That's
there.
easier.
God, yesterday I had to give these poor tree guys an earful because they were trimming trees at my next door neighbor's house. I was working on landscaping at my house, and I have my primary residence, and I own the one right next door. The one right next door, I've been working on this flip. Well, the tree guys were 2 doors down, and I said, hey, when y'all are done, can you come look at this tree? So I came and looked at it, and they're like, oh, well, this one's nice, but do you own this house too? And I said, yes. And they're like, oh, well, that crepe myrtle, it's growing into that oak, and you're definitely not supposed to do that because it's going to kill them both, and then it's going to ruin your house, and your house is going to fall down. And everything they said, I was like, yeah, sure, I guess it checks out. So we agreed on $400 for them to trim all of it, but I said one very important part. So we're going back to roommates. I live upstairs. My roommate lives in the master bedroom downstairs. We are very separate from each other. But in my little 10 by 10 room, I have a window unit because I like to sleep in the equivalent of like a convenience store beer fridge. Whereas I keep the rest of my house at 78. It's never warm downstairs. It's always warm upstairs. So I had a tree in front of my window, 1 to provide shade, 2 to block out my window unit that the HOA doesn't allow. I'm on the HOA board and shit's getting really serious and I don't want to be a target. Our president's already a target. Like, I think she's going to be our first assassination in the neighborhood.
Oh, jeez.
I hope she doesn't listen to us. So I told these guys, I said, look, this window, I said, I need the tree in front of it because I can't have this air conditioner. And I made the stupid mistake of they started working. I walked inside to eat lunch. I walked back outside and I looked at it. They pretty much just took the tree and just chopped it about 6 feet up, and my window's probably, if I had to guess, like 15, 20 feet up.
No.
And the whole thing was exposed, and I just unleashed on this poor man, Julian.
Oh, no.
And,
oh my God.
And I was like, did I not tell you that the air conditioner needs to be covered? And he's like, I showed you laser pointer. And I was like, you showed me laser pointer about the tree. I said, shape it up and then cut it down. It was bad. I still paid them for their work, but God, man, the way I cussed out these people who did not know what I was even saying.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with the unit now?
I'm going to get the violation when they do the drive in November, probably. And then I'm going to take it down in November. Hopefully we should be at the point where I don't need it in the winter. And hopefully by spring that tree will grow 5 feet. If the tree can grow 5 feet in the spring, we're golden.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm putting it back anyway. I'll get a violation again. I'll pay the $50 violation every month if I have to.
Just know your rent just went up $50.
I want my AC. And I have solar panels too, and like the electricity bill's still, I mean, it would still be higher.
Yeah.
If I ran the AC as cold as I want to. Also, I just don't really trust my 20-year-old air conditioning to hold up that much longer. It hasn't shown me any problems yet, but the clock's ticking on it.
If you need an AC guy, let me know. I own a contracting company.
Oh, do you do like full like home remodel? Or?
Absolutely. That's the partner company that we bought into. Is actually we're supposed to do decommissions, but his original like specialty is custom home remodelings.
So
I have
do you
Ruben
have
Natividad
everyone,
right now.
like every trade?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All in
How do you have
house.
so much time to be here every Friday?
Man, it's called find the time. Find the time. And honestly, like I'm more of the marketing side. So actually, like what BR Capital Holdings actually owns is an electrical company, a lighting and design company, and that we just purchased the partnership because we're 50% partners in that business is a construction company. And so mainly my job for the construction company is marketing and sales. That's actually all my job is just market the company and get sales. And so a lot of the stuff we do is not even like a bunch of high-end stuff. We do some high-end like, service calls and stuff like that. But getting into the new build with a brand new construction company in the high-end luxury is impossible unless you have the clientele. And as an electrician, they're not going to be like, wait, you're an electrician and do like custom homes?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah. And they're like, okay. That's weird because you're an electrician, so it's hard to get into that as an aspect. But like with custom homes or affordable homing, it's a little different. I can just basically put up some marketing platforms and then people will start calling because they all want some sort of price and they're all price checking and matching all these other contractors out there. There's just a lot of them, and in the state of Texas, you don't need a contractor's license, but we do. Because we went ahead and did that extra step to make sure that customers trust us, and so a lot of the stuff that we do is basically doing home remodeling in that market, and it's just because it's a real I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not easy to start a business. It's not easy to get into marketing. But if you already have the clientele, which he has, and that's what he used to do, is those. He did high-end luxury homes, then he did custom homes, and then he was like, oh, I'm going to go be one of those homes for Lennar or for one of those companies, right? And then didn't realize in the contract that said that you have to do 12 homes to get your final payout. Then he was, yeah. And so he was like, well, I did custom luxury homes. So like the finish out's easier, it's a lot faster, and we already have the quality behind us, so we can do this. Wasn't the case. And that's when he started like having some troubles. And so it's like, look, we're going to buy into this, but we're not going to do this. We're going to get you back into this. But he knows and understands it's going to take a couple of years to even get back into the high-end luxury. And so now what we're doing is that we're just doing, I mean, if we there's a project or even like talking to realtors and stuff like that, this is like, hey, we got a house that wants a remodel or just a kitchen remodel, just a bath remodel. Those small projects is actually what we that company survives off of, is those small remodels. And then we also know, because again, I'm well in the marketing and talking to a lot of different people, I have a landscaper that can do those trees. And he speaks fluent English.
I actually have a whole backyard that needs to get done, so
let me know.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so I mean, absolutely. So that guy that does the landscaping, like outside porches, anything in the outdoors, anything he can do, and he does very well, very well. So like, yeah, like even AC guys, plumbers, obviously electricians, and then painters.
Foundation guy?
Oh yeah, we have a foundation guy.
Do you own all their businesses, or are these just like your
This
network?
is so basically that's a lot of those are my network. So those are my network that I have acquired over time, and I've seen their work, and so those are the guys I'm like, yeah, no, I'll use them again. And so those are the people I've been using for years. And then in the contracting, when I bought him, I was like, I already have a bunch of guys we're going to start using. And so like licensed plumbers, anything you need, AC guys, we got them. And so because of that, when we brought the contracting company in, now I can bring those guys in on the jobs that I keep hearing about, but I can't do anything about. So now I got a hand in it.
When you need a contractor and you have the choice of getting a company or getting the guy, like I got a guy for that.
Yeah.
I have clients constantly that ask me for my guy for this, because they've seen that I've done flips and stuff. And usually, after doing 5 flips, I can usually pretty good range of, if we're walking through a house, I can say it'll cost about this to do this.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with most of the projects now and I paid for all of them. But I feel like if the guy backfires and they suck, then it's worse than me not recommending anyone at all.
Absolutely.
'Cause it comes back on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got great trusted guys. Also, do you have someone who's just a general handyman? Because I feel like that's what I need the most help on.
I don't trust handymen.
I have one.
If you have one, there's actually fewer good handymen out there than there are like a Pacific trade.
I believe that. Like I usually, if a client just needs a handyman service, I usually just direct them to TaskRabbit. I'll say, just put in the thing you need. There's a guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my stamp of approval on it.
And the way we've done it, because the people I know are contractors, like basically electrical contractors, plumbing contractors, landscaping doesn't really contract, but basically landscapers and stuff like that. So I go to more and support more of the businesses than handymen, only because handymen get themselves in trouble. So like, did you know that to do electrical work, if you touch a wire, doesn't matter what it is, or even touch an electrical conduit, and you're adding like a circuit outside, or you're adding a plug,
you need to be a master electrician.
You need to be licensed.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So to do and perform work in the state of Texas, and actually technically anywhere, you have to have even an apprentice license with a journeyman close by to perform work. And then you have to have a master that owns the company. So if the master doesn't own the company, you can't perform work, because you have to work underneath a licensed person. So the way a lot of people do is, oh, I'm a journeyman. Oh, you can do electrical work. But legally you can't, because you got to be underneath a master to perform that work. So my guys in my team, when they do side work and they say, oh, you're an electrician, it's like, yeah, I can add an outlet for you. I tell them, he says, well, you're under my license, and I'll allow you to do it because I know your work. And he says, sure, you can do some side work. That's fine. I don't mind it. If you use the account, pay it in full, pay whatever you're using, just pay for the materials and go get it done. Go get some extra money. I'm fine with it. My apprentices, when they ask, can I do side work? I'm like, absolutely not. It's like, are you going to bring a journeyman with you?
Are you liable for them?
Yeah, because I'm liable. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys, like when they ask, can I do side work and use the account, I tell them, and it's like, well, I haven't seen you work. You haven't worked for me for at least 9 months. I can't. I don't want, because I have to. I filter through my guys to make sure who does side work, and I just tell them, just be honest with me. I don't care. I'll even toss you a job that's too small for us, and it says, you know what? I can send one of my guys out there. It'll be a side job, and he can add an outlet for you. He can do something for you. I almost prefer that because I know it's one of my guys that I trust, and they can do the job. Absolutely. But the problem is that there's a lot of people out there that do side work, and they do it so under the table that sometimes even full kitchen remodels for us, not a big deal, right? I don't really care about those. But when people say I'm a company and they're only an apprentice or a journeyman electrician and they're not licensed, they're stealing work from us.
Yep.
Like that, a lot of people is like, well, it's cheaper. And it's like, yeah, so you got a quote from an actual electrical licensed and insured company, and you had this other guy come in. We quoted a full kitchen, let's just say, throwing numbers out there, we quoted a kitchen for like, $15,000, right? For electrical, new lighting, all the lighting packages, everything about $15,000. This other guy can come in, he'll give you the materials at Home Depot cost, which we don't sell anything on Home Depot, and he'll give you Home Depot cost, and his labor's like, I'll do $30. Well, that's what he makes at his company. Well, I can't sell labor at $30 an hour. I got to pay the taxes. I got to pay, all the overhead. So when you have a full company come in, my guys are about $110 an hour. So I got to pay the taxes on him. I got to pay his, insurance. I got to pay, the benefits and everything else. So, but also I carry the insurance. And so if something happens and that guy goes in and does your job, he's not insured. What if something happens?
Yeah, your house burns down.
Where's
Your homeowner's insurance won't even cover that.
Where's your electrician?
He's gone.
There you
He's
go.
in Mexico. He stole your van too.
Yeah, he stole the rims off your van, my man.
There's this flipper that I know kind of, and his first contractor that he was working with wanted $160,000 up front. And this guy was his first time doing a flip, and he didn't know that's not okay to pay someone that much money up front.
No.
And he gave him the money and never saw the contractor again.
Oh,
I bet not.
goodness.
I mean, why would you?
160,000?
Yeah. I will say this on
does that? Okay,
on
this is
remodels or anything that we've done, we've always asked for depending on the size of the
50%
job.
upfront.
50% up front is like the
Sticking with
most.
contractors.
Oh, is he calling you?
Nah, my GC is.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
take this real quick and go to the bathroom, but
Yeah.
continue the
I
convo.
wanna-
I'm gonna see if I can drag someone else in as well.
I wanna,
There you go.
I need
Grab
to work too.
No, y'all finish the conversation. Let's go.
But continue, yeah. You guys.
Oh,
as-
so yeah,
as
so
everyone
depending,
knows
like
who is
depending on
reliable.
depending on the job, right? We'll do 50% up front. But say for instance, it's like our quote is like $150,000, right? I'm not asking for 50. I'm gonna ask for whatever the first percentage of the job is. We're gonna do like say the first half of the job, we're going to ask for 25%. So that way it gets the job going, it gets us materials, and it pays a little bit of labor up top. Like I'll be fronting the rest of the labor for that section, but then once we get to 50%, we'll ask for the next 25%. So that way we're running on a percentage portion depending on how big the job is. I'll never ask someone, unless like for instance these big lighting jobs we've done for backlighting and stuff like that, depending on how small that job is, I'll ask for 65 just to cover materials. And I'll cover the rest of the project on labor because material bases on backlighting in some aspects are just so massive. Like you're talking backlighting, so if you buy a $10,000 piece of stone, the lighting alone is 10 grand. 10 to 12 to $13,000 in lighting. So what we do is look, I'll cover, if you can cover almost cost, I'll cover the rest of the cost. But basically, I just need whatever, 67% of material. So even on our bill sheet, it'll say what you're paying for is the percentage of materials and then whatever like $5,000 of labor that is. And it's like, I'm covering that until the job's done. And those jobs go for about, 3 or 4 days sometimes, depending on the stone, because soldering, heat shrinking, getting the materials, and getting everything installed takes about 2 or 3 days, depending on how big the job is. I had the one we did last month. We did one that it was a center island full wrapped, 2 backsplashes, and that took us entire 5 days of work
wow.
to get that up. So I told them, look, I'll cover all the labor and the small materials. I need you to cover the lighting, which on that one was about $11,000 in lighting. So we were like, cover materials, I'll cover the rest of it, because material is that heavy and it's a lot more than my labor. So I'm like, look, it's basically I'm covering the other half, which is a little more than half, but they're covering the material basis because it's so large. So that's why the way we do stuff is a little different, and we try to keep it fair with the client, so that way they're not paying 100% up front. A good contractor would never ask for more than 50 or maybe 55 and then do the last percentage.
It's such a huge red flag. I mean, I
don't know,
why would you ever do that?
No.
I mean, we did our bathroom here, and we paid the guy 50% up front. He finished the job, and then we set the 50% when you're done.
Absolutely.
He was begging. He was still 10% off, he had to finish.
Yeah.
He was begging for the rest of the money, and Matt was like,
oh, really?
yeah, I'll pay it. As soon as he paid, 4 weeks later, he finished the job. He was telling us every day he's going to come back. He did not.
You talking about Rudy?
Yes.
Yeah, they were talking about he had a contractor that quoted him $100 something thousand, and he paid it all up front.
Wait, what?
No, not us.
Oh,
He had it.
sorry, I have a developer, a flipper acquaintance. I paid
He
a
had a
contractor
guy who
160
paid
grand up
100
front,
and he disappeared.
which
Why
it
would
should
you
be
pay that up front?
Exactly.
if
That's
it's
a
your
lot of
first
money.
one and you just don't know what to do because your realtor friend told you to buy a house. It wasn't me.
You got to call that client or that contractor the virgin surgeon.
Nice.
Right?
I'm sure he's tried to call that
Surgeon.
contractor, but no one's picking up.
Yeah.
So that guy took the money and
I got a good electrician story. So when we had our hot tub,
Not me.
was not Reynolds and Co. When we got our hot tub, we needed a 220?
Yeah, 240.
240?
Yeah, well, it's nominal voltage. Electricians call it 240. Homeowners call it 220 because that's the old voltage. That used to be on.
Gotcha. Well, it was one of those 20s or 40s.
Something.
To something. So the guy comes in, right, and he's like, "Hey, I'll just install it real quick."
Yeah.
I think he was charging us like $150 or $200, right?
That's
Pretty cheap.
I got a guy that
Well,
can do
this
it
was
cheaper.
this was 5 years ago, so it was.
Oh, okay. So maybe.
So he comes over and, he digs a little trench and everything and does all the stuff. And he's been working out there for maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And he comes to me and he goes, "Hey, man, I got to be honest." He's like, "I'm not going to be able to do this job for, $150 or $200. Like, I went and had to get some additional parts. And, this is just turning out to be like, it's just not going to be profitable for me otherwise." And you'd have thought that he was expecting me to do what I feel like most people would do, what you wanted me to do, which was like, "No, man, you made a deal.
I
Like,
didn't
this is what you're doing it for." And the reason I'm telling this story is because when we hired the contractor that you heard the horror story about,
Yeah.
he was so much less expensive than everybody. I was 100% confident that what happened was going to happen. And the only reason that I allowed it to happen is because, we have all of the tools and I know how to do all of this shit. So I thought, all right, if he can get like 2/3 of it done, I'll just finish it my fucking self if I have to.
Yeah.
Which is kind of almost what ended up happening. I mean, we installed a lot of the doors and did all the finishing ourselves. But I was prepared for that because you get what you pay for. So when this guy came to me and was like, "Yo, it's going to be about another $100," or no, he didn't say that, but so he came to me and said it was going to be more money and I'm not going to be able to finish it. And I said, "Okay," and he's like, "I'm real sorry, but," and I think he expected me to try to rip his fucking head off. And I'm like, "All right, well, let's figure this out. Like, what's it going to take? Tell me what you need as far as parts. Tell me what it's going to cost." Long story short, we met in the middle and I came back in and I told her and she was like real upset, because Ina gets real fiery sometimes when it comes to contractors and money and stuff like that.
I really want to see this side of Ina.
Are you serious?
I don't want it to be directed at me. I want to see her do this to somebody else.
She did it to Megan a couple of weeks ago.
No way.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah, we'll do it off the
I thought
air.
the entire office
We're
knew.
doing off the air.
Yeah. So yeah, but, we gave him the extra money because I was like, I get it.
I
get it. It happens.
An unforeseen happens, and you're like, all right, I got to cover this.
Excited
So
to
we
hear what
finished up. He
Megan
did a good job. Hot tub still works. 240 lines still installed, and everything is right in the world. And I encourage people to give grace to contractors when stuff like that happens. I am never the person that tries to pull the whole like, well, you said.
That was me yesterday with my tree guy.
Is that right?
You told me, and he even said, I told you with laser pointer.
Yeah, and I said, you pointed at a different place. This guy butchered my crepe myrtle yesterday.
They grow fast.
No, the worst part was the crepe myrtle was covering up my window unit that's not allowed by the HOA.
Yeah, but those things grow so fast.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we can grow 5 feet before spring. 'Cause
You probably will. I mean,
That's required.
I almost hate our crepe myrtle. All we have to do, we trim it every year, and it grows twice as fast every
Which one
time.
is that?
It's the one that's up in the front on the left when you pull into the driveway. That's a crepe myrtle.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
think
they do.
my landscaper buddy said that you can actually put this like paint or something on the limb you don't want to grow, and it won't grow as fast. It'll actually on those they won't grow, but then like if you cut it, if you say you want to keep it at a certain like point,
Yeah.
Well, you can those crepe myrtles. You can actually, as long as you don't get to the trunk, you can completely butch them.
Our neighbor does it
Yeah,
every
he butches
year.
them every year, and then they just.
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Like, I'm telling you.
Well, I
That
just needed to
fucker's
grow
gonna grow
5
back.
feet by spring.
It will. It will.
Like, I was going to put Rogaine on the end of the.
Rogaine. Hey,
Not
Rogaine.
necessary. It will grow. Trust me. What was I going to say before the crepe myrtle?
We were talking about our contractor and
Oh, ripping someone's head off.
ripping.
Yeah, but we finished that. I had. It doesn't matter. It wasn't that important. You being Russian and angry. Was that
Blowing up on
absolutely-
Megan.
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, that's one of the things that in my business is, and I'm going to relate it to the whole we need more money type of thing. So as a lender, the charges that I have control over are the lending charges, but
Yeah.
the documentation that I have to present shows title fees, it shows taxes, it shows insurance. There's all these things that we collect for to make sure that the closing goes well how it's supposed to. That somehow I'm like treated as if I'm the one that's charging it, right? Like the appraisal is an example. Like, hey, the cost of your appraisal is going to be $550, and people are like, oh, that sounds expensive. It's like I'm not making it. It's something I have to sell that I make no money for. As a real estate agent, I feel like it's the inspection for y'all. Like you guys are kind of tied to the inspection mentally to the buyer. That it's like your inspector, right?
Yeah, I'm done with that now.
Yeah, I get it. But this I can't get away from, right? So like,
Well, so usually it's like, hey, I got the great guy. I'm going to, suggest him to you. Now it's going to be, here's 3 choices you pick. Because,
What happened?
one of our blessed clients
great client. Well, he was the best client.
decided that my inspector clearly did not do his job since the dishwasher was running completely correctly.
Yeah,
And then the day after they moved in, it stopped working. Additionally, the hot water heater should have been replaced. The inspector, kind
Missed
of
that.
Right.
didn't make the problem seem as big as it was.
How
could
do you
he
tell
predict?
an appliance if an appliance
Yeah,
is
how
working,
could-
it's working, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
An inspector sees and they report.
Right.
Yeah.
They make no assumptions.
So what I'm getting at is like we'll try to do our very best prior to closing to present all of the fees so that a client knows how much money they need to bring at closing. So we'll just use round numbers, and maybe it's a week before closing. We send over your closing disclosure. You need to bring $10,000 to closing. This is your down payment plus your taxes plus your insurance plus your title. $10,000. Like, okay, great. And then we what's called balance with title, where we balance the balance sheet, and let's say that it ends up being $10,500. I am astonished at the amount of people that will look at that and say, well, you said it was going to be $10,000. This is what you presented. It's $500 more. I think you should cover the difference.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and it's
So it's
an
like
interesting
every
concept.
time.
Really?
Every time.
So it's an interesting concept, but here it is for all of you salespeople out there. This is what seems to hit home with the client the most as far as an analogy that I give them. I will say, listen, this isn't a fee that like we're collecting because we're profiting, right? Like this is a cost from a third party company. This is what it costs. This is like, you're on the hook for this. Like, and we're not just going to pay for this because, you know,
You're not buying the house.
Well, I'm not buying the house. And like, it's not like we raised our fees and said, you know, to the story I just told with the electrician, like he was raising his fees because he wasn't going to make any money. Like, this isn't even my fee, right? It's not me raising my fees. Like, this is the cost of you buying the home. And so the analogy that I've used from a sales standpoint seems to hit really hard with the client, and they go, okay, that makes sense. I said, have you ever gone to the grocery store and you buy a bunch of items and you run it through, and all of a sudden you package all your things, you get it in your cart, and you go to the car to load your groceries. I said, what if the attendant, after she rang up all of your groceries, ran out and said, ma'am or sir, excuse me, real quick, that package of ribeye steaks right there, we forgot to ring that up. Because you're in the parking lot, does that mean that you automatically get to just, it's like, nope. I got outside.
I'm outside y'all's doors
now. It's like, no, you did not pay for those. There's a cost that's associated with those ribeye steaks. We made a mistake in regards to it didn't hit the scanner. Like, we're not overcharging you for something. We're not taxing you for something. You're taking home a product that you have not paid for.
Yeah.
You have to pay for that.
Absolutely.
You don't go like, well, it's already in my car.
Right?
I'll even take it a step further. Like, I know large corporations, Walmart and stuff like that. I literally call this the McDonald's effect, because I feel like people have gotten accustomed to the idea that if they complain, that maybe they'll get like a free large fry in their next meal.
Yay.
Right?
Oh, any restaurant. Yeah.
Right. And I could be cynical, but I think there's people out there that like that's their game. Like,
Hidden fees or just
no. Like
being
intentionally
a weenie.
complaining to get something for free.
Gotcha.
And so that seems to hit home with people, because I've never seen somebody that's like, well, if I got the groceries into my car, or even if I got home, right? And we're like, hey, you didn't pay for that. Most people are like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I
Got to pay it.
got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Got to pay the piper.
Like, I see you making faces.
Well, I just think about how many times I've been at Walmart and they have the self-checkouts only now. And I'm not confessing on air, but it would be very easy for someone to not scan an item and still show the receipt to the person who is not really doing their job at,
walk
the
out.
security checkpoint.
And that's fine. If you're trying to steal, I get it. But the
I'm
point,
saying it'd be very easy.
right. But the point I'm trying to make is that hypothetically, if you were to go and show your receipt and something was missing, would you literally?
I would say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Right.
Let me go do that."
Right. Or if like,
And I would act so confused.
or if like the checkout clerk was running you down and saying, whoa, that package of steaks there, like we didn't charge you for those. You need to pay for those. Would you literally look them in the eye and be like, I'm already in the parking lot. You should just give me these steaks for free.
Nope.
Definitely not.
You would never say that.
No.
Right.
A normal person would not say
And
that.
that is what people do.
As a kid, I thought you'd go to Walmart jail if you stole. Like, thought you'd be in one of those holding cells with like, kind of like this podcast room, like just a light over you. Someone interrogating you about the Digimon cards that you stole.
Well, people do that to me every day. I'm not even exaggerating. Every day. And the part that kills me the most is with taxes.
Yeah.
So like we do our very best to estimate taxes. You and I had a mutual client that this just happened with. We get the tax bills, but ultimately it comes from the title company. So I have to legally like send you loan documentation when you go under contract. And there's a lot of information that we don't have as like the facts, right? We do our very best to like kind of like what you would do. There's going to be change orders, right?
Going to be change orders.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So when I send out proposals, I can't get over the amount of times when like taxes will be like $20 more a month. And so when you're collecting for, multiple months worth of taxes, it can raise your cash to close by a couple $100. How many people are like, well, you should eat that? I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
For what? Like, first of all, it's not me like eating a charge. It's me literally paying your taxes.
Yeah.
It's not like me coming and saying, oh, okay, well, we won't make that much money. We'll reduce our fees. It's like, we have to pay for you to do your deal. Like, it's wild, man. And it is a regular basis that people for some reason think that is like normal practices where again, going back to the grocery store analogy, you would never tell a shopping clerk, I'm already in the parking lot. Steaks are free today.
Right.
I mean, as a real estate agent, you kind of, I always check on taxes. I go on the county site and I tell my client, this is what you need to expect. And then when you get like loan documents, make sure like it's like
Yeah. What's
it's
your tax
close,
percentage
right?
that it's going to come
Because
up?
like builders, they don't charge the exact taxes they're gonna occur later on.
Yeah.
They're charging like $60 a month. I'm like, don't you think this is real? Like this is not okay. Like,
Yeah.
this is the wrong number, and you have to put aside more money for the when the bill comes, so you are not short. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
and to your point, like the part that is also like frustrating is that some people would say, well, why don't you like, under promise, over deliver, right? But if I purposely increase your taxes and we hold more money than we necessarily need, I've had the same thing where it's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, if I think taxes are gonna be $700 a month, I'm gonna put like $725. And then you do that, and they're like, "Oh, the payment seems high." And I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of overestimating the taxes." They make a couple phone calls, and they'll find another lender that's going to be like, "Oh no, we'll go ahead and we're just going to collect like $650."
yep.
Right?
But then what happens every time?
Well, the deal closes, and they get paid, and I don't. And then after that happens, the taxes
They're short.
get billed, and then they're short, and then their payment goes up. But that doesn't put a commission check in my pocket. right?
Absolutely.
And that's the part that pisses me off the most. It's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
How dare you be honest?
Right.
So when I have a client who says my monthly payment went up, that's related to they didn't escrow enough money for taxes.
Yeah. So
Or
when
their
you
property taxes just
so
went up.
first and foremost, I think the number one thing that most people don't know is that in the state of Texas, if you do not put down 20%, you are required to escrow. Okay. And even if we collect escrow amounts correctly at closing, which we normally always do, after a year or two, your taxes are going to go up. And when they do, not only is your payment going to go up because the taxes have gone up, but now we're going to be short on your escrow account, and lenders are legally required to still pay the taxes. And then we take what we call escrow shortage, and then we divide that up over a 12-month timeline as a 0% free loan to you. It's pretty fucking cool because every time we have a shortage, she'll be like, should we just pay it? I'm like, fuck that, it's free. Granted, our payment's like $100 more a month, but then as soon as you catch up, your payment goes back down. But when you're running an escrow shortage, you're not only paying for the escrow shortage amount, you're also paying for the increase in taxes. So when the payment juices, it juices a lot. Depending on how much your taxes are, could be anywhere between like $100 to $300 a month. But you can either stroke a check, but why would you? You have a 0% loan. So it's like just pay the extra $300 a month, and then in 12 months it drops like $150 or $175 because your shortage is picked up.
Yeah.
But you are going to, unless taxes and insurance don't go up, which that is, I've been doing this for over 20 years. They always go up.
Always.
You're going to run short on your escrow account almost every 2 to 3 years.
Because, they increase the values every 2 to 3
Right.
years. So if the value goes up, plus then I would check, did they even homestead it? Because people forget to homestead their properties, and then you go on the county sign, they don't even know where to look, and you show them like, hey, I reminded you like after you closed, but you didn't do it. Now you're paying the extra. It's 10% more
because they didn't homestead it.
Yep.
And then you can homestead after the fact,
Yep.
but the problem is that once they do the homestead exemption and then they reassess, it can take up to 6 months to get your refund money
Yeah,
back.
it's not
Oh.
an instant adjustment.
Yeah, the county's not like racing to stroke
Yeah.
you your check back.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, they're taking their time.
So even when you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm homesteaded late, we owe you $1,000. It's like, when am I going to get it? They're like, it's in the mail, and you'll get it, but
6 months later.
right.
Is it a common practice for shadier lending companies
Yes.
to underestimate?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that
and
how?
that's why she mentioned builders, because a lot of builders lenders will do it.
Gotcha. Is that how companies like Better Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage, those are able to project lower closing costs and such?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so again, because we're not on the hook for taxes, insurance, title, things like that, you can definitely fudge numbers, and then all of a sudden at closing get a big surprise.
Because
And-
every client I've had that has told me, "Hey, my payments went up. What do I do?" They've always been the ones to close at like a credit union or
Right.
a big box
Oh, geez.
lending company,
Mm-hmm.
like better.
Yeah,
Clip for later.
there it is.
I
again-
used to tell clients I'm blacklisting Better Mortgage,
Rocket.
Quicken Loans,
Rocket.
but now every credit union I would like to blacklist as well. I've never had a positive experience with a credit union.
Well, credit unions had their day over the last 2 years, man. They really have. It's the first time in my career that I've seen credit unions it's their time to shine. It's starting to go away, but typically, money that's lent on mortgage-backed securities and everything along those lines usually is better deals and less expensive than credit unions. You usually go to a credit union if like your credit's shitty and you need someone to like, kind of lend to you as a human being versus like a credit score. That's usually what credit unions were good for. But because credit unions lend on actual money, and the way that it works legally with credit unions is like credit unions can't have money just sitting in the bank. They have to lend it. And because after COVID, there were so many people with like elevated savings accounts and everything along those lines, credit unions were giving money away for about 2 years, and they were just crushing anybody who was, doing secondary market lending, which is what I do ultimately, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA. And so credit unions were the very best deals because they're backed by actual dollars. And again, they can't have the money sitting, otherwise they get taxed on it. So the credit unions have to lend this money. So they're like begging people like, please.
Get rid of them.
And when rates were at like 7.5%, we were seeing credit unions at like 5.875, 6%. And it was legit, and there was nothing we could do about it. And credit unions got real fat for like the last, basically 2021, 2022. And that's starting to level off again. But it was very, very frustrating to lose deals when they're playing a different game. And then I would envision it's very frustrating for real estate agents and even clients because, credit unions kind of suck at their job. So, but they were giving away cheap money.
That's a great explanation.
It is.
Yeah, and that's, one of the things that is interesting, I hate to bring up the NAR lawsuit, but I think about the
I
NAR.
love bringing it up.
Well, I feel like we've just murdered it. But like the thing that I feel like a lot of people are forgetting with the NAR lawsuit and then cheap money with credit unions and everything along those lines. Like I was having a conversation with one of my close friends. I won't mention her name, but she made a comment about how she feels that it should be like a fixed cost to sell a home. That she finds it frustrating that, a $1 million home is going to yield a larger commission than a $250,000 home to the real estate agent, when in her mind, it's all, a house, selling a house is selling a house.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
You do.
In a way. But I'm going to let you finish that and I'm give my thoughts.
Yeah. So, we had a conversation about that, and then she kind of got into like, how hard is it to sell a home and this and that. And the one thing that I feel like this NAR lawsuit has brought up is a lot of conversation with the general consumer who is kind of going, like, why the fuck are these real estate agents paid so much? Right. And I think that the one thing that a lot of people aren't thinking about when it comes to real estate, like nobody questions how much their cleaning lady, like you can clean your own house. Right? You could change your own oil. Not that hard. You can cut your own hair. Right? Why? Real estate is not rocket science. Right? I'm not saying it's easy, but it certainly isn't something that like requires a high IQ. Okay? But do you really want to sell your own house? Do you really want to like show your own home? Do you really want to like
Deal with people?
Do you want to drive around
strangers.
and do you want to drive around and do showings on the buy side? Do you want to write those contracts? Do you want to do all of that? I don't understand why people are like acting as though like, oh, I could do that. It's like I can do a lot of fucking things, but I don't. And why are we breaking balls on real estate agents who are performing a service that, again, depending on who you are, anyone can do. Mm-hmm. But do you want to? Like, when is it going to become a flex? This is what I want to know. When is it going to become a flex to be like, I got a realtor?
Or I got the best realtor.
Sure, I mean, but no.
I can afford my realtor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is having a real estate agent not a flex? Like, I have a cleaning lady, right? I don't fucking wash my toilet. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know, the last time I cleaned a toilet, it's been years. Baller. And people are like, yeah, fuck yeah, having a cleaning lady is a luxury. Why is having a real estate agent not a luxury?
Not a luxury, yeah.
Because it's just I don't go around saying I have a hairstylist. You know, I feel like
Some people do.
I also
My barber,
I also
I will
go
put
to
him on
Great
the map.
Clip, so maybe I'm not one to speak.
But you're still not cutting your own hair.
Yeah, I think it's because it's so expected that if you're transacting on property that you would have a realtor. I mean, I feel like most of my age cohort that is finally purchasing their first home is pretty proud to have a realtor because that means they also have a house.
Exactly.
But why is a real estate agent not treated as a commodity that you can afford that is like
Because of what they do on social media.
Yeah, right. No, you're right.
If realtors held themselves to a more professional standard, you know, like a lawyer does, you don't see lawyers making dance videos in people's bathrooms half naked, you know.
So how do you think that started?
I mean, I'm sure there was some real estate agents that probably had some personality, and people liked that. And most people, I would say, do like a realtor with personality. You're about to spend a lot of time with them. You better at least like them as a person. But I just feel like they're respected less and less. Also because everyone and their grandma can become a realtor so fast that, I don't know, the average person knows 12. You know?
Well, it's really, I know in the trade world,
Yeah.
electricians are like the princesses.
Oh my gosh.
You guys are like, you know,
Yeah.
because you guys have to have all the quality. You and HVAC.
We always fight. I mean, I don't know how many other HVAC guys have told me, I can do your job.
Right.
I was like, well, because they have in their AC stuff is very similar, right? So they do voltage calculations. They do stuff on their end for circuitry and
Yeah,
other
if you guys fuck up, people can die.
Oh yeah, very easily, very easily. And you know what? Now I can saying that it irritates me that you know how many clients that have told me is like, I can run wire, I can do this. This is easy. And I was like, okay, cool. Well then, why are you bothering me to come out and do a quote for you? And I was like, well, I just figured that you could just do it for me real quick and be real cheap. And I'm like, then like you guys are saying is like, why isn't it flex to have people do stuff for you if you make enough and you. My thing is,
it is a flex to have people do things for you. But why is it not a flex to have a real estate agent do something for you? Why is it always like, oh, their job's so easy, I could do it myself?
Well, my thing is I don't want to spend the time doing it.
Right. No. We're saying the same thing. But
Yeah.
like the general public thinks that real estate agents don't really do dick. Like I'm saying they're getting the short end of the stick type deal.
They are.
And I want to know what it is about real estate that the average consumer wants to break balls over something that they think is easy to do, which again, maybe it is. Going back to my point, cleaning my fucking house is very easy.
Yeah.
I don't do it. So like, why is real estate the thing that people are like picking on and not, I mean, if you're going to pick on a real estate agent, why are we not picking on everything else that people pay as far as services? Like I can cook my own food, but there's 9 million restaurants in Austin.
Or people that come out to your house and cook your food for you.
And it would be a huge flex to have a chef.
Right.
But like, I don't know.
Why, like anytime
don't know
anyone
why
says
it
to
is,
me
man.
like, this is my new thing, I got it. Next time someone says to me, like, oh yeah, I want to buy this house, or like if someone calls you directly as a real estate agent and says that I want to represent myself, you should be like, oh, you must be poor. Like,
Well, immediately,
you broke fuck.
well, I mean,
You probably cannot afford
the
a
person
You
who
can afford it.
the person who wants to represent themselves is only doing it because they know they can get a discount.
Right. No, and
So
and
they're
so,
up
but
for
hear
it.
me, but hear me out.
I'd be like, do you also cut your own hair?
right. That's what you need. We need to start fucking with these people. And when someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm calling because I want to get a discount," like, bless your heart, are you really that fucking broke?
Yeah, maybe you
Right.
should not buy a house right now. Go save some money.
There's two issues with that.
They probably do their own electrical as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
One, I'm trying to sell the house because I have a responsibility to sell it. The other one is, unfortunately, if I say anything mean to anyone, I have a public Google page that they can write a review about me on. So I just feel like I bite my tongue way too often in fear of a Google review.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to bring back having a real estate agent be a flex. It is like I have a real estate agent, right?
How many real estate agents do you have in your back pocket?
Exactly.
Oh man, I got one in each state.
Meanwhile, that client rolls up in a Mercedes, and it's like, oh yeah, you're really trying to save money, huh? Like,
Save money for the Mercedes.
right?
That's why I rolled up in my red Ferrari.
Boy, he gets a lot of fucking play on this one. I know who you're talking about.
Every episode.
I heard he was getting rid of it though.
Oh, you talked to him?
Well, I mean, I follow him.
Who is that?
Victor Nino. Say it like that.
He just fucking went. for
Realty of America.
Oh,
I'm getting around. Does anybody need
no, I
anything?
need to.
Actually,
I need
yeah,
to
I'll
work.
totally take it.
Well, here, will you get us around? I mean, if you're going to be
I'm
working.
an expensive real estate agent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's a good point. I see what you did there.
It's a flex.
I can
Yeah.
bring you- What are you guys?
Lonies.
I'm
Lonies.
good. I'm good.
You're good. You just had
Tell
that much
James,
Starbucks.
tell James to get in here.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, is that the app?
Or
guy?
bring Megan.
What?
Is that
we
the
need
app
to know
guy?
what happened.
No, he ended up having to go pick up his kids. We didn't get to pitch our idea to him.
Dang it!
Well, so
Being
there-
a family man.
So there's an app that I was going to wait till Vo came on, but whatever.
Well, he's gone.
There's an app. I'm not sure if it still exists, but they used to be at all the same prop tech networking events I was at in Seattle, and they were called NextMe. And basically, the idea is you show up to a house and house for sale, and you say, I want to see this. You get on the app and say this address, and it'll ping every agent in the network. The first one to pick it up, it'll show you on a map where they are driving to the house for them to show you. The idea is you have to be unrepresented as a client to be able to use the app. And so the idea is the agent does it for free. In exchange, you can walk past.
Yeah,
the
just
camera.
walk by.
It's marking on the rocks. Who cares?
Right.
It's a trash show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so the idea is
That's when you know you've made it, when you have a high-end real estate agent delivering you beers,
Right?
right?
I feel special. I'm not.
a luxury import too.
There it is. Lone Star, the only beer that whitens your teeth and makes you more successful.
They still won't sponsor the show.
Damn it.
Bacardi will though. So whenever they want to reach back out,
I can reach out to them.
I will get them tattooed on my face for the amount that they wanted to pay.
Bacardi wanted to sponsor this. I turned him down.
Oh, really?
I
I'd totally get a tattoo on my face
it's
with
the
a little
worst trade
bag.
deal in history.
I don't drink Bacardi. I don't know. It didn't feel right.
I'll be drinking mojitos like your water.
Mojitos. Man, I've actually, drinking Bacardi. I can't drink it straight. But man, you mix it in something.
Don't mention them anymore. They're not paying me.
Not yet. Bacardi.
How many
Still
times-
lost in whiskey.
Finish your thought.
Oh, anyway, the idea is the agent has a potential to pick up. It's like basically, having Zillow Premier Agent.
Well, Kemp said that Roto-Rooter does what we were talking about with the app.
Yeah, but that's with Roto-Rooter.
Right.
They
Why can't we do it for an open app platform for any of them?
I get it.
I think open app platform for that would be perfect.
How much would you pay for that as a business owner?
As a business owner,
Yeah, so if you had a crew, let's just say of 10 guys so we can keep the math easy, what would it be worth to you to have your entire crew have the ability to forward that app to clients so that they could track when the contractor was going to get there?
and then once they do, then you can have systematic drip campaigns on when they should be.
Well, that's what it's about. You're going to capitalize on getting their data.
yeah, for
sure.
Because that's the main thing is you're,
Right.
you're
So you gotta
collecting
sign in.
data.
You're getting the data.
And mainly, me honestly paying for that service, as long
It'd be a monthly fee. What would you be willing? What would let me pitch you. Let's,
I would put $150.
I was going to say about 150, 200.
But here's the
You good with
thing,
that?
we have a monthly service or deal for the electrical service.
Okay.
And what we do is with Legrand, they have a EV charger that it's kind of a one EV charger fit all. But the app based on it actually has a thing on it to where if something happens to one of the EVs, it messages you, the client, saying, hey, EV number 154 is having issues. An electrician is on the way. And it immediately texts me, the licensed electrician that installed it. We have now a guy that's on the way en route. And what we do is we have a monthly service agreement with commercial clients that basically we will come out once a month and kind of check everything. But also, if we get a text for that service, we're immediately coming out. You don't have to worry about it. The electrician is on site.
I like that.
And that is a monthly service that we provide. And to me, an average service agreement that deals with people showing up to the location or anything else that's app-based that helps get the user to be not really involved as much, it's anywhere around $150 to $200. That is an average service thing. There's the idea.
And think about how many contractors you could have on that app.
Right?
Well,
speaking of EVs.
Uh-oh.
Have you been seeing those cars downtown that are driving themselves?
Yes.
I haven't seen one yet.
So about almost 10 years ago, I predicted that we wouldn't be driving cars anymore. Like, as in, we wouldn't be that cars would be driving us. And I would like to know your thoughts on this kind of wacky theory that I have. I don't think it's that wacky anymore, but 10 years ago, people thought I was a fucking nut. And I said that cars were going to start driving themselves and people were going to stop actually owning cars, that you would actually have like a lease option. And depending on how much you paid a month would dictate one of three things. Number one, it would dictate whether or not you were part of like a ride share. And if you paid more money, then you could get your own cars. Number two, it would dictate the quality of the car that you would be riding in. And then number three, it would dictate the, the expediting, how quickly you could get your car, right? And I thought that everybody would have like a monthly lease payment based on their subscription, just like you have a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Forget about the hardware. Think of the software, right?
Yeah.
How many minutes? Well, we don't do minutes anymore, but you used to have minutes.
Make me feel old.
Right. You used to pay for minutes. You used to
Pay for texts.
Pay for texts. You'd also, certain coverages. People would argue one provider is better coverage than another. You have roaming. You can even do international. And I envision that I thought it'd be here by now, but I envision that driving a car will be the equivalency of riding a horse. And what I mean by that is like people still ride horses, but only really rich people who like to ride horses ride horses. And I think owning a car is a similar thing. Like for you to actually be able to physically drive on the road manually like this.
Oh, not like
will
this.
become a luxury that only rich people do. What are your thoughts on that?
I could see the day where nobody owns a car. But the other benefit of having your own vehicle is the privacy of not sharing where you're going. So let's say you want to do something that
you don't think that they know where you're going. You have a tracker in your pocket 24 hours a day.
I was about to say the same damn thing.
I guess that's fair.
Because we have location trackers on our phones, and we do that for Google Maps and anything else.
We know where you're
at.
But
with that, anyone has access to it.
Yeah, I guess there's not enough people like having affairs to change a whole industry. But yeah, I could see that. Definitely. I think it would take so long to get all of the existing cars off the roads first.
How long?
I would have to assume at least 10 years. So California, it's no longer allowing gas-powered cars to be sold.
Which destroyed an entire industry.
Like, how long is this going to take before all the gas-powered cars are gone?
Well, see, those are two different things based on what I'm saying right now. Because
also, I totally agree that people should not be driving cars. I think cars should be driving themselves for safety purposes.
Because here's what I'm saying as far as the cost is concerned. What if you could make it less expensive to do the service that I'm kind of talking about right now versus driving? You get cars off the road extremely quickly at that point because you're not paying for gas. You're not paying for insurance. Insurance costs are going to go down because the cars are driving themselves. And the companies that own these cars, they're doing it under an entire insurance umbrella, they're going to pay on time every time because it's a business, right?
Yeah.
So now you have but reduced insurance costs. Therefore, companies can make it less expensive. So I'll give you an example. Like one of my dream cars, right, is the S580 Mercedes, right? It's a $120,000 car, right?
Beautiful.
Pocket change for you.
If I were to buy that car, right, and even if I put down a decent down payment, the payment on that car is going to run me around $1,100 a month. If you could put me in that car every time that I'm in a car and it drives itself, and you could do that for $750 a month. Mm-hmm. And when I'm not in it, it's driving someone else.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I mean, my car's been sitting in the parking lot